What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry. I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web. That's gonna make us question everything. Everybody sit back. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Do you really think all those street cameras are just for traffic?
Foremost, I know drug trafficking, a lot of it's done on foot. A lot of people, because a lot of drug-dependent people walk up to a house or to a car and buy drugs. So first thing I do is I go over to my class and I just want people. So I eliminate all the car noise. So now I just have the people that go through the scene in the 24-hour span of time. And I'm actually watching that in 9 minutes and 44 seconds. So I figure out now the next thing I want to do is where do these people go the most? So I use the pass. And right then and there, I have my drug deals in seconds because there's the frequency meter right there, and I can see the pass. So these two houses were in concert. We did search warrants on these later. But I also want to know, just for my own edification, how many people just go to that little door, like right there, every day? How many people go into that intersection? And this time they went a little higher, it's 400 because they cross underneath there too. So you can see every one of these people walking, and all these people are going, and the car are going right to that. Look at that. Does that look like a regular house to you, or does that look like a drug bar?
Now, I don't know how common this is, if this is everywhere by now or not, but if that shit is real, man, that is crazy. Dude literally tracked people just off of movement patterns and figured out exactly what was going on and who was selling what. That is way more advanced than just speeding tickets, man. What is going on here?
We're looking at the latest model of robotic bird spying drones. This footage comes from research published in the prestigious scientific journal Nature. This next gen of bird drone can not only fly like a bird, but walk and perch like a bird as well. Although these drones are getting better by the day, this concept is not new. Bird animatronics go back hundreds of years. But now these centuries-old curiosities are evolving into something far more advanced. Spy tech that can blend in with nature and be almost indistinguishable from real birds. I wonder how many bird spy drones are already out there.
How many do you think is out there, seekers, bro? That's crazy to think about, man. That our robotics has come so far, bro, that it actually blend in with nature, and you couldn't tell the difference between a real bird or that it could be a drone, man. Once again, bro, adapt. He was right about the pigeons, bro. If you know, you know.
Bill Gates is funding a new meat company that uses lab-created cells that never stop dividing. Kind of sounds like cancer. Well, because it is. Now, this is literally an infinite, eternal, biological creature of an engine that endlessly spits out animal tissue without needing a new creature. Where are we as humanity? Like, get this man out of the health sector. First of all, it actually holds the same biological DNA of aggressive cancers and tumors, and they're marketing it to us as regular meat. You know, can we do something? Can't please. I have to buy cows now. Where am I going to buy cows? At least it's not crickets yet, but I know he's going to get us into crickets. This is my driver. You guys, stop getting oh, but it has protein in it. That thing is not natural. That's not natural. We do not need to create an amoeba of meat, mystery meat. You know, I just can't imagine what that actually looks like.
Won't be eating that. Hell no.
Here, check it out, family. This person happened to catch this damn invisible aircraft in Argentina last night. And I have to say this, there been a lot of stranger things going on in the sky where a plane from New York headed to Chicago had to get grounded in Detroit and all the feds was around it on Fulton Gray. Shit is great.
It is officially begun. Today, India has started their attempt at the impossible, trying to count their entire population in the biggest census the world has ever seen. And they better lock in, because it's even more insane than it sounds. Not only do they have to count an estimated population of 1.5 billion people, that's nearly 20% of the entire planet, but also they're aiming to ask each citizen a series of 33 questions relating to things like housing, internet access, living standards, and so on. That would be a total of 49 billion questions. And that's not even the craziest part, because despite the introduction of some digital methods to try and make this census less complicated, a significant chunk of it will still need to be done the old-fashioned way. Door-to-door surveys. And just so you guys understand, in India, there's approximately 600,000 villages, some of which are located in extremely remote areas like the Himalayan mountains, which can only be reached on foot. So, to carry out this monstrous task, India have appointed an army of 3 million officials. That's like the equivalent of the entire population of Jamaica, all doing one job. And they have been given just 1 year to complete probably the most logistically complicated task in history. So, India, we wish you good luck. You're gonna need it.
Good luck.
We've successfully subscriptionified our entire lives. Like, really, when you think about it, pretty much everything now is a subscription. Literally, just existing is a subscription. Oh, do you want to be alive for another month? Pay our monthly fees. All of your basic necessities in life have become a subscription. Even like your rent. It's a monthly fee that you pay that you have to renew at the end of the year, and then they're just going to increase the price with absolutely no improvements to the product, and you have no choice because you don't want to move, or it's too expensive to. Even your subscriptions have become a subscription. They're just like, oh, are you having a hard time paying your monthly subscriptions? Well, here's an app to finance your monthly subscriptions through a monthly subscription. There's no escaping it. And by the way, they're not done. They're just getting started. Everything is, they're going to have to start having like subscription babies, subscription spouses, where they give you like a checkbox and you order one in the mail, and then you can have the option to renew after a year if you don't like it. Which that actually sounds kind of good now that I think about it.
You was hitting the nail on the head, man, about everything becoming a subscription, though. You can't lie, Seekers, man. Literally now. Everything is a subscription, bro. It's like ever since, man, they introduced, I don't know, like, bro, streaming. I'm not talking about, like streaming, Twitch and stuff like that, but these streaming shows, man. Subscribe to HBO, Disney Plus, all those, subscription websites, man. And like you said, the fact that he said, paid the subscription demand to help manage your subscriptions. I've seen those commercials sometimes, and I just didn't put that together till now. And I'm like, so you're paying to help keep your subscriptions in check. So you're paying for a subscription for the subscription, bro. Mind-boggling.
Here we're making robots that are made of robots, which is why I call them nanomachines. So these robots are made out of modular parts that are themselves robots. And this means that if one part of the body is damaged or lost to injury, the rest of the body is fine. It survives. It continues to function. So we really wanted to create robots that were more resilient and that could evolve.
Smart.
We evolved these robots to move themselves through the world with a little bit of athleticism. So more athletic than any other modular robot has been on land, more athletic than any other evolved robot has been.
That's a great idea, bro.
Let me tell you this, right?
Yeah.
Take of this what you like.
Yeah.
I was in bed with a woman, and that's it. That's the end of my story. I was in bed with a woman, right? I'm lying on the pillow, and I'm looking at her face, right? Her face turned into what I could only describe as a reptilian.
Now listen.
My face went, oh my God. She looks at me and she says, I'm not a reptilian. Boom! Take it, make of that what you will. That's what happened.
It happened again, y'all. The sky turned red again.
No way.
This time it's not Australia. This is the Greek island of Crete. Look at the sky, fool. Shit is red. Some places even turn orange. And they're saying this is from dust that was pushed over from Africa. I'm hearing it didn't just happen in Australia and Crete, though. I'm hearing other countries is experiencing the same thing. So I'm guessing all of this is caused by a dust storm. Right, okay. Just look at this shit, right? Imagine you wake up and you see the whole sky red. see people recording that's been living it. They like, they never experienced it. It's new to them. So for the people that's trying to make it seem like this is normal,
it ain't.
It's not, fool. How you gonna say it's normal when the people that live there is acting like this shit is not normal? They're looking at it, recording it like, bruh, this is not normal, fool. If and when this happen anywhere else, I'ma let y'all know. Let me know how y'all feel about this down below in the comments. This shit crazy.
Why does the sky keep turning red? That's what I want to know. He says because it's a dust storm. Do you guys believe that, Seekers? If you guys wake up and you see the whole sky is red, man, what's your reaction? I definitely need to know now, bro. Australia, Crete. Who's next, man? I have no idea. Watered down gas. They still messing with the gas, bro. I'm going like 20 miles an hour. They just had to take it and go to the gas station, bro.
My way, I'll stay and hold and feed a nation. 26 million doesn't mean anything.
Some people might find it hard to understand how Delcia Bear can turn away a $26 million offer to buy some of her land until you spend a little time with her walking the dirt road she grew up on and in the house her daddy built.
My grandfather and great-grandfather and a whole bunch of family has all lived here for years, paid taxes on it, fed a nation off of it, even raised wheat through the Depression and kept the bread lines up in the United States of America when people didn't have anything else.
Delcia is one of dozens of landowners approached by an anonymous buyer, one of the major players in artificial intelligence, likely Google or Meta or Amazon, to purchase their land. The market value for land in Mason County is about $6,000 an acre. The realtor that came to her door last April offered her and her mother about 10 times that.
They call us old stupid farmers, but we're not. We know whenever our food is disappearing, our lands are disappearing, and we don't have any water. And poison, we know we've had it.
Delcia's mom, Ida Huddleston, is now 82 years old. She says she does not need the money or the hassle. She was born on this land and she plans to die here, and she certainly does not trust the promises made by the AI companies or the people who want them to build here.
Smart.
So what do you say to the people who are in town that say, hey, this is going to bring jobs, this is going to bring economic prosperity?
I say they're a liar and the truth ain't in them, is what I say. It's a scam.
For Delcia, scam
She
or
know.
not, she says she's connected to her home like Scarlett O'Hara was in Gone with the Wind.
As long as she was attached to that land, her spirit never would die. That's the exact same thing for me right here. As long as I'm on this land, as long as it's feeding me, as long as it's taking care of me, there's nothing that can destroy me if I've got this land.
U.S. buried 120,000 tons of nuclear waste under a concrete dome on a tiny Pacific island, and it is officially cracking open. This is obviously insane, but between 1946 and 1958, the United States detonated 67 nuclear bombs across the Marshall Islands. Some of them were actually 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima, and everybody should know how big that one was. Whenever they were done, they sent soldiers to scrape radioactive soil, debris, and plutonium off of 6 different islands, and then they dumped it all into one spot in a crater on a Tily Island. They then thought that it was a brilliant idea to seal it with an 18-inch concrete cap, and locals literally call this area the Tomb. And now, almost 50 years later, visible cracks are spreading across the surface. So, do we sense a problem problem here? The island sits just 6 feet above sea level, and scientists are saying that it'll be partially underwater by the end of the century. So it's problem after problem after problem after problem. And the actual material that's inside the crater is plutonium-239. It stays radioactive for 24,000 years. A nuclear engineer said that no concrete structure on Earth could survive even a small fraction of that, and people still live 20 miles away and fish in that lagoon. And somehow, the moral of this entire story is, the US says that it is not their problem anymore.
Yes, it is. What the hell? We need to fix that.
Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows? Neil Armstrong being the first man to walk in the room. Talk about a fish story. Man, and they're buying it. Okay, so what's going on with you, man? Your eyes are different. I don't exist. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh, stuff like that, make you happy and docile, so you don't know what's really going on.
Okay. Was he spitting? It's not pumping, but that number's still running up, bro. Y'all see that? Bro, what is up, bro? Everybody's trying to finesse with this gas, man.
It's cool. Like, even if he's saying something about you that's untrue, like, let him. Even if he's saying something about you that's true, let him. You know what I mean? Like, there's a adult in the room that comes and says, like, yo, your initial instinct is not worth it. You know what I mean? Because your initial instinct could lead to a movie that you've seen so many times.
Right.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, just on a spiritual level, it's like, yo, what's that gonna do? Like, so I'm ramping it up on that verse to just give you insight. Yeah, you never really got that from me, but it's like, just to give you insight into, like, yo, that's how it feels. And I know people feel that and can relate to that, because it's like, yo, that's, you know, for better or for worse, that's a knee-jerk reaction to disrespect. You know what I mean? It's like it's a defensiveness.
Unwarranted disrespect. You know, I think you pointed out, like, look, when I was broke and struggling and trying to piece it together, like, I was on my own figuring that out, you know? So for you to then come at me now when I'm doing, like, something good for myself, it's understandable.
Yeah.
J. Cole. Saying some powerful words, man. You have to have restraint in this life, bro. If you just like react off of anything and everything somebody says or does to you, you might do something that's gonna cost you for the rest of your life, instead of just, you know, sitting back, thinking, being like, okay, you know what? It's not worth it. Just walk away, man. Imagine if the world had restraint, bro. Or if more people used it. We wouldn't be in the situations we would be in now.
Just saying the Cheetos survived, so maybe nobody should eat Cheetos, because this is what the rest of the house looks like. Yeah. So I'm fucking done eating Cheetos. Never eaten that shit again.
A man was just detained for breaking into Area 51, claiming that he worked for NASA and that he was investigating a time anomaly. Yeah, so this is a wild story from newly released body cam footage showing a man who tried driving past security at the Area 51 back gate back in January 2026, and this happened in the middle of the night. Which, if you didn't know, Area 51 is one of the most heavily guarded military installations on the planet. Like, if you put a foot over the gate, you're getting locked up or worse. And what he told the officers that stopped him is crazy. Basically, anytime they asked why he was there, he claimed that he was a contractor for NASA, and he had driven out there because of this time dilation anomaly. And he was saying this in a totally calm manner. He didn't come off as confused, and actually had 3 government badges on him. 1 for NASA, 1 for something called the Redstone Arsenal, and 1 for Army Material Command. Check this out.
Sounds weird, strange, but it's true. This is part of a time dilation facility, and we are experiencing this now.
Yeah, that's time dilation, Einstein's theory of relativity, and he's saying that he's experienced this kind of loop multiple times. Now, dispatch couldn't confirm if his credentials were fake or not, but they found this report of this same guy trying to get into the Nellis Air Force Base in Vegas the month before. Now, obviously, none of this is confirmed, and if this guy even works for NASA or not, or who he really is, but this footage is real, and the way he's talking doesn't sound like he's making things up in his completely calm demeanor, but who knows? Eventually, this guy is released, and he tells the deputies there that he'll be back again on the same date, like he's stuck in this loop. So, was this guy just making up this story, or does he know something that the rest of us don't?
He might.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, RS 25 engines. 4,
We have liftoff.
2, 1, booster ignition. And liftoff 2, now bound for the moon. Humanity's next.
Back up on the moon again, man.
Good roll pitch.
Or are we?
Houston now controlling the flight of integrity on the Artemis 2 mission route.
Integrity AMT high.
Everything's good.
On time passing 30 seconds. Integrity passes the ultimate vehicle. Target milestone. Mission control Houston see good performance. Engines, space launch system core stage. Integrity 3 miles in altitude. Traveling more than 1,200 miles per hour.
I've been waiting not so patiently for Scientology to release the celebrities that were sitting in the front row of L. Ron Hubbard's birthday celebration this year. I think they had a celebration event in Los Angeles last Saturday, and then it looks to me like the celebration, the big one in Clearwater, is happening today, which I suppose is why I haven't seen any pictures yet. But I thought while we're waiting, we can look at who was front row last year. And of course, the most visible in all of the slideshow pictures was Elizabeth Moss. Elizabeth Moss is a second-generation Scientologist. People thought for a long time that maybe she wasn't super active in Scientology, but she has been attending a lot more events than usual and was pictured front and center. Sitting not too far down from her was Michael Pena. I just made a video about him and his journey in Scientology. And then close by are the people that piqued Michael Pena's interest in joining Scientology, and that is Jenna and Bodhi Elfman. People also thought that John Travolta had distanced himself from Scientology in recent years, but nope, there he is at L. Ron Hubbard's birthday celebration near Elizabeth Moss. And then not sitting in the front row, but at that same event, Erin Cairo from Braille Skateboarding got an award. I actually need to do a video on that soon because it's actually really sad how Erin Cairo basically gave up everything to run a Scientology center. I'll keep you updated with who we see in attendance this year.
I don't know nothing about Scientology except that one time I just kept seeing this a Tom Cruise meme, and I just looked up a video about Tom Cruise Scientology. I think I found out about that by watching Dragonfly, bro. It was like a Tom Cruise impersonator or something like that, and I just looked it up and it popped up. That's all I know about Scientology, man.
They can process raw data a million times faster than we, and still be able to make the leaps of intuition that inspired our greatest minds. Sounds as if the human race could become quite expendable. Except for buttons, of course. Of course.
You too, Batman? You knew about this? You didn't tell us?
Prep time.
You put it in the cartoon so we could figure it out years later? Batman's been talking about AI when we were still kids. I knew it. Stop playing with me, son. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Batman doesn't know what he's talking about because he's a cartoon character, bro. It's not a game. He told us about AI since way back. The Matrix told us about AI since way back. Other places, people, and things told us about AI since way back. And nobody listened. You know what they thought? They thought they were just saying 2 letters out the alphabet. Stop playing with me, son. It's not a game. I ain't got to know what it is. But I'll tell you one thing. If I ever see somebody say that AI was invented recently, prove it to me.
Right.
Hey, this gas station on Red Bridge, above the post, we got this little box. Every time a car pull in, it say unlicensed vehicle temporary user. So if you got bad tags, you probably want to pull up here. Keeping the tags, but it's a cop up in this motherfucker, right here next to the radio station. Block cameras. I don't know if it's in the signals, dispatch or what.
Block cameras is big business, and they're starting to blow up. They're spreading everywhere, bro. And a lot of companies, they're working with them. They're making it easy to work with these companies. So this type of surveillance is going to be everywhere. It's like we living in this movie, you know? I'm like, what's the stop with this? Because I know this is going to go up. These flock cameras are going to be everywhere, you feel me? So flock safety is private right now. Of course, you can't buy it. It's only better EPs right now. But they said on the size question, flock has gotten huge. Recent reporting says it's used nearly by 6,000 U.S. law enforcement agencies and 12,000 corporate clients. So first of all, they're getting glitchy with 12,000 corporate clients. Sheesh, how much money are they making? I'm like, why they not telling more people about this? You know what I'm saying? They said they do tell people, but they do it through contracts, council votes, pilot programs, and police partnerships. But they say most people only hear about it. Like, if I'm making a video, this is the only time you gonna hear about it, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't deep diving into tech and stuff like that. But y'all drop some stocks or something like that I could catch on the investment tip before this goes all the way up, bro, before it becomes normal. Be like, yeah, I got a Ring camera, I got a flock camera, you know, like.
Rumored to be a whole flesh pit in Texas, but no one cares. And TikTok, these are just conspiracies that I'm bringing to light. Not saying that they're true, also saying I don't know if they're not. But does anyone think that that's not normal? There's even video games based off of this, and it's been rumored for a long time. If it did have some truth to it, then that would mean that Earth is alive and a being, or at least Texas. When you think about it, that's where the most oil comes from in the country, is Texas. So is it oil to us and possibly something else to Earth? I don't know, just a wild, wild thought. Like and comment and let me know what you think.
So are y'all aware that NASA is taking astronauts up to the moon today? Today, out of all days. Do you know what today is? Did NASA forget what today is? Today is April 1st. April Fools. So they plan on taking 4 astronauts to the moon on April Fools. I don't know what this is. This is not the spaceship that they're taking, but I'm looking at this junk right here. This is in Texas somewhere. Like, what is going on here? Is someone else planning to go to the moon too? But look at this. Even Google is ready to program you about the so-called moon landing that's happening on April Fool's Day. Bro, who do these people think that we are? And then not to mention, NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. And then the only thing that they're missing from the NASA logo is a picture of the snake. Y'all see the tongue of the snake right over here because they're liars. They're snakes. We already talked how the moon is a reflection of the map of the Earth. The moon is not a real entity. It is a plasma projection on the dome. The dome is a two-way mirror. Do y'all remember when Jeff Bezos paid for a group of celebrity women to go to space? Do y'all remember how long it took them to get to space? Apparently, it took 7 to 8 minutes after liftoff to get to space. And then not only that, they came back on the same day. What happened to moon missions taking months and months in order to be successful? Jeff Bezos got it like that? But at least this time they're taking a traditional rocket. We'll see how long it's going to take them. But the fact of the matter is, even NASA's director said that the technology that they needed to go to the moon, they got rid of it. So how are they going to the moon now? Y'all, today is April Fool's for a reason. Do not fall for this deception, bro. These people have been lying ever since they stepped off the slave ship called Jesus, and they are still doing it to this day, bro. The shit is here. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let's continue.
Of time. Anne Frank and Martin Luther King would be the same age if they were alive today. Queen Elizabeth and Marilyn Monroe were both the same age as well. Here they are when they were both 30 years old meeting each other. George Washington died 25 years before the first dinosaur fossil was found. George Washington did not know about the existence of dinosaurs. Woolly mammoths were still walking around the earth 1,000 years after the pyramids were built. Also, Cleopatra was alive closer in time to the moon landings than the building of the Great Pyramid. NASA was already exploring space by the time scientists could agree on how plate tectonics worked. Follow for more.
Interesting.
A few days ago, I posted about this girl talking to her scary imaginary friend named Gilbert. Well, this is the follow-up story to that video. Apparently, her mother noticed her banging and singing on this floorboard, so when they uncovered it, they found something very, very terrifying related to Gilbert underneath it. I'm gonna roll the clip right now. Check it out.
That's not weird at all. It's like wires. Oh, super hot. Ouija board? Hell no. Abort. I'm out. You're touching it too. It's brave people, not me.
A friend of mine lives in Chicago, and she and her husband thought that they had a family of raccoons living in their attic because they kept hearing all of these sounds upstairs above their bedroom. One day my friend is home alone, her husband's out of town, and the sounds are particularly bad, worse than they've ever been before. And she's sitting there and she's like, what is going on? Like, what could like, there must be 1 million raccoons up in my attic. And so she decides to pull the access stairs down from the ceiling, and she's too frightened to go all the way up into the attic. She just crawls up 4 or 5 stairs and just sticks her arm up into the attic and just snaps a photograph. She pulls her phone down to see what's actually living there. Warning. This is what is on her phone screen. Staring back at her. He was 7 feet away from her when she took this picture.
Can you imagine living in your house, you and your husband, you think it's just the two of you, and the entire time this man is living in your attic? This is the kind of stuff I truly fear. I can watch any horror movie, listen to any ghost story, but this kind of stuff I don't mess with. I can't do it. Anyways, so this woman ran out of the house. She called police. They came, took him out of there, and it looks like he was in that house for over a year. He would come down when the woman and the husband weren't home, and he would steal the husband's clothes, and they think that he was either selling it or wearing it. They don't really know. This is just a little reminder, if you move somewhere new, you might want to check the attic and all the rooms in the house, or you might find yourself in a situation like this in the middle of the night.
TikTok influencer and her mom were recently sentenced to life in prison. This is 24-year-old Mahek Bukhari, and she was a former TikTok influencer, and she was known for her makeup and lifestyle videos. She lived with her parents and her brother in the UK. This is her mother, Ansareen Bukhari, and it oftentimes would come out in her videos. Ansareen was in a 3-year affair with 21-year-old Saqib Hussain, who she had met on a dating app. In January of 2022, Ansareen decided that she wanted to end the relationship with Saqib, and throughout the whole relationship, he had spent between 2,000 to 3,000 pounds on her, and in US dollars, that would be between maybe like 2.5 to $3,700.
Oh,
Keeb had sexually explicit photos and videos of the both of them, and he basically blackmailed her and threatened her that if she stopped talking to him, he was going to send those to her husband and her son. Mahek was aware of the affair, and although she did not approve of it, she was just trying to tolerate it. On January 4th of 2022, Mahek and Anne Serene came up with a plan. So Mahek had contacted Saqib, and she basically told him to give her the videos and photos, and he would get 3,000 pounds in return. Mahek told Saqib to meet Anne Serene in the parking lot of Tesco in Hamilton, Leicester, and to hand over his phone. And if he did not comply to this, they were going to give him a serious injury. On February 11th, Saqib and 21-year-old Hashim, who was his cousin / best friend, drove to the location together. When they both got to the location, they noticed that there was 2 cars waiting there for them, so that's when they decided to flee. Those 2 cars followed them and chased them at 100 miles per hour. They contacted 999, which is equivalent to 911 here in the United States, and they basically told dispatch that they were being chased, they were trying to run them off the road, and they feared that they were going to die. Then there is a scream before the call cuts out, and there is a loud bang. End up crashing, the car splits in half, and the car catches on fire. Saqib and Hashim were both killed at the scene. Police were able to refer to CCTV footage, and they were able to see the 2 cars and who was driving that other car. Police went to Mahek and Anne Serene's home, and when they were speaking to Mahek, she was just lying to police to try and get out of this. Just this month, Mahek was sentenced to 31 years and 8 months in prison, and Anne Serene was sentenced to 26 years and 9 months.
This is why you should always know a preacher. A man named Jack went to church on Sunday. He sat next to the preacher and said that he needed to talk. The preacher asked what's wrong, and Jack says, I just can't do this anymore. The preacher says, can't do what anymore? Jack says, deal with my ex-wife. She's driving me crazy. The preacher says, what is she doing that's causing you to feel this way? Jack says, she's driving me insane. She's trying to take my kids away, and I can't let her do that. The preacher says, I understand, but you need to do things the legal way. There's not much I can do for you other than pray. Jack stops and looks at the preacher for a second. Jack says, lawyers can't help me, Father. The preacher says, why not? Jack says, my ex-wife is dead. I need an exorcist. If you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure to like and follow.
This is why babysitting always freaks me out. So in 2014, Sarah DeWalt was babysitting for a new family that had just moved into her neighborhood in Ohio. The family consisted of 2 young children under 10, but when Sarah showed up that night, the parents kept talking as if they had 3 children. There were 3 sets of pajamas laid out, there were 3 bowls of ice cream on the counter, but the family clearly only had the 2 kids. So that night, Sarah and the kids are winding down watching a movie when all of a sudden Sarah starts hearing noises in the house. There were footsteps shuffling like someone else was there, and she had this overwhelming feeling that she was being watched. So she gets up to check on the noise, but then the kids turn to her and say, oh, that's Bonnie, don't bother her. Sarah leaves it because she's freaked out, but then later that night she goes to check the nanny cam and she sees this image captured in the hallway. She stayed up until the parents came home, but she never went back after that.
Good for her. This is Carla Nash. She literally had her face ripped off by Travis the chimp. People noticed that Travis the chimp became way more irritable after they took him off his medication for his Lyme disease. But nobody expected when Carla picked up his Tickle Me Elmo toy for him to rip her face off and dismember her body. There is a 911 audio call between Sandra Harold and a dispatcher and her begging them to come out and kill the monkey because he's dismembering her friend. Carla had to undergo 72 hours of surgery and an experimental face transplant surgery. This left her completely blind for life. When police arrived on the scene, one of them shot Travis the chimp, and then he died later right next to his cage. But the damage was already done. Carla was already disfigured and nearly dead. In my next video, I'm going to be playing audio clips from the 911 call between Sandra and the dispatcher. Stay tuned for that.
There are some crazy things happening in the world right now. Fireball is offering a lifetime supply of their whiskey only to their fans that are over 90 years old. NASA found a diamond in space that is 5 times bigger than Earth. The amount of money that was spent on GTA 6 is more than it took to build the tallest building in the world. Zoos are now giving guests special glasses to avoid eye contact with gorillas. An AI applied to the art school in Vienna Vienna successfully. A mini dachshund named Valerie survived on a remote island in Australia for over a year by herself. A hawk terrorized a bald man for weeks, and a falconer told him that it was just hormonal. A man was ticketed in Montreal just minutes after his parking spot turned into a bus stop. A 71-year-old man was arrested after police found 7 emotional support tigers inside his house. NASA is offering $3 million to anyone who can recycle 96 bags of astronaut poop on the moon. Police are investigating whether a foster mom in Missouri traded a child for a monkey to grow her exotic pet collection.
Can you believe that this was almost the Ghostface mask for Scream? While scouting out locations for the first Scream movie, they stumbled upon a mask in an abandoned house. It was produced by a company named Funworld, and it was called the Peanut-Eyed Ghost. Well, Funworld wanted a little bit too much money for them to use their mask, so they went to the drawing boards. Here are just a few of the concepts that they drew up. Quite different, huh? They were eventually able to come to an agreement, and thus one of the most iconic horror masks of all time was born. This may look like a Wish.com Michael Myers mask, but it's actually from the original movie. 43 years ago, they painted a Captain Kirk mask white, and now we have one of the most iconic horror killers ever. I'm actually impressed with how well it held up over that long.
Imagine waking up at night to this figure being in your bedroom. Between 1957 and 1971, that was a terrifying reality for those living on the Channel Island of Jersey. Edward Paynell was your everyday family man. He had a wife, children, and even dressed up as Santa Claus for foster home orphans during Christmas. But when he donned his horrific mask, he became the Beast of Jersey. He preyed upon women and children, entering their bedrooms through open windows and committing unspeakable acts on his victims. His reign of terror came to an end in 1971 when he was convicted on 13 counts of rape, sexual assault, and sodomy against 6 of his victims. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison, but disturbingly was released after 20 for good behavior in 1991, dying of a heart attack 3 years later.
Forbidden places that you can never visit. Snake Island is an island off of the coast of Brazil filled with deadly snakes. Rising sea levels caused this piece of land to become an island, allowing for the snakes to flourish in their own environment. There are now up to 5 snakes every square meter, and you are not allowed to go here. In Svalbard, Norway, there is a global seed vault, aka the Doomsday Vault. It is the world's seed bank, storing samples of crops from all over the world just in case of a global catastrophe. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang in China holds an army of warriors made of clay. It protects the burial spot of the first emperor of China who died in 210 BC, and we only discovered this tomb in 1974. Poveglia Island in Italy was used to exile hundreds of thousands of victims of the plague. It is said to be one of the most haunted places on Earth, and a dark local legend says that 50% of the soil is made up of human remains. Follow for more.
We ain't going there. Except Mr. Beast, he went to Snake Island though, so...
Was this the worst form of medieval punishment? If you found yourself as a prisoner in a medieval castle, you may be subject to the dungeon, torture, or even execution. But what could be worse? Well, let me tell you about the oubliette, also known as the Forgotten Room. This was a specialized type of prison in some medieval castles, perhaps for the worst of offenders. It was a narrow shaft, sometimes 8 feet deep, with only one entrance and exit, a trapdoor located on the ceiling. The shaft being so narrow that the individual would be forced to stand. They couldn't kneel, they couldn't sit, they could barely turn around. The fall alone into the oubliette would sometimes break bones. In some cases, these would even be built into the upper walls of the castle, so the victim could hear the hustle and bustle of castle life, but could not escape. Depending on the situation or individual, they might throw you some food and water if you were to be kept alive. In most cases, you were subject to stand there, starve to death, and then be devoured by vermin. The most you could do was stand there, look up at the grate, and realize you cannot escape. Oh yeah, did I also mention sometimes jagged stones would be placed at the bottom? And of course, you were also subject to stand in your own waste. Leap Castle, which is located in Ireland, had quite an active oubliette. So many skeletons were discovered in one in the 1920s that it took 3 cartloads to transport them off the property. Between the sleep deprivation, the starvation, the psychological torture, and the claustrophobia, I think this is the worst form of medieval torture.
She was killed by her own people. This is what happened to 30-year-old Annie Mae Aquash. Annie Mae was born on March 27, 1945, and was born into the Mikwok First Nation. Annie Mae was a part of the American Indian movement, and she was just extremely passionate about human rights and the preservation of tribal communities. She was a mother of 2, so she was fighting for her children's safety and future. Throughout her time with the American Indian movement, she was arrested on federal weapons-related charges, but she was quickly released. She was arrested for a second time in November of 1975. However, she was released just 10 days later on November 25th. Due to how quickly she was released, some members of the American Indian movement started to believe that maybe she was working as an informant for the FBI, and that's why she was released so quickly. The last time anyone saw Annie Mae was in the middle of December, and then just 2 months later, on February 24th, 1976, a farmer in South Dakota stumbled upon a frozen, badly decomposed body. His farm was located along the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and this corpse was wearing blue jeans, a maroon jacket, and they were laying with their knees pushed up all the way to their chest. Police were called to the scene, and a coroner determined that this was a woman and that they had been dead for more than 2 months. Due to the condition of the body, it took a little bit over a week for police to identify this corpse as 30-year-old Annie Mae Aquash. Initially, they believed that she died of exposure, that she froze to death. They buried her, and that was that. When her family and friends heard the news about her death, they were just completely shocked. They were trying to figure out what had happened since the last time she was seen in December to when her body was found in February. I mean, what happened in those 2 months? They just had a gut feeling that something more had happened. They requested a second autopsy. They exhumed her body, and this new autopsy revealed that Annie Mae had a gunshot wound to the back of her head. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't the consequence of exposure. Annie Mae was murdered. Her friends and family initially believed that maybe the FBI had done this to silence her. However, it was later revealed that no, the FBI didn't do this. Instead, she was kidnapped, R-worded, and unalived on December 12, 1975 by 3 members of the American Indian movement. Her family just couldn't believe that she was betrayed by those she trusted and by people she believed had her back. As of today, someone has been convicted for the murder of Annie Mae and has been sentenced to life in prison, but were more people involved? Her family believes that maybe higher level officials at the American Indian movement could have ordered her death because they truly believed that she was an FBI informant. It's been nearly 30 years since Annie Mae, a mother, a sister, a beloved friend, a human being, was killed. To hear more about what happened to Annie Mae, make sure to watch Vow of Silence on Hulu to uncover the truth, and let me know what you guys think about this down below.
Gotta watch your own people, man. It's a sad reality of this world, man.
This is a true horrifying story. Part 78. This story took place in Tilburg, Netherlands in the year 2020. Ibrahim, a man that was 23 years old back in 2020. Ibrahim is originally Iraqi, but he was born and raised in Netherlands. One night, Ibrahim got a call from his ex-girlfriend, a Dutch girl that he hasn't seen in over 2 years. She told him she wanted to hang out, and she asked if she can come over, and he said yes. When she arrived, Ibrahim and this girl go to the bedroom and they do the dirty. After they were done, she took her things and she left. This is a crucial point in Islam. When you do the dirty with a girl, even if you've done it the halal way with your wife, there is something you must do afterwards called the ghusl. The ghusl is known as a washing or cleansing procedure. If you did not perform the ghusl after finishing what you did, you are not permitted to pray or even touch the Quran. Your body will be considered najis. And when you are najis, you are more prone to jinn possessions and you will attract jinns to your household. After this girl left, Ibrahim did not shower, he did not clean himself, he went straight to bed. As he was falling asleep, his body went through sleep paralysis. He figured it could have been a normal paralysis cycle, but this one in particular is not normal at all. Ibrahim was fully aware of his surroundings as this was happening. He felt that his mattress was slowly being lifted up in the air. And then he felt something pushing him deep into the mattress. Right then, he knew that this was a Jathum. In intense fear, this was happening for 5 minutes straight. He started to recite Ayatul Kursi, and as he was reciting, he saw a face that he was not able to describe to me. He cannot even draw it down. That face was something sinister. He felt that even the Quran recitation was not helping. This is how crucial your ghusl is in Islam. Moments later, the mattress falls down in its place and Ibrahim was able to move. He was crying heavily as he was running out of his home. He gets in his car and he quickly drives to his mother's house. For days straight, Ibrahim was crying from this trauma. He was not able to eat, he was not able to sleep. And the day he went back to his place, he felt the presence of that sinister being even days after he was gone.
Still there?
What would you do if you were offered $9 million but you had to unalive your best friend? In 2019, 22-year-old Denali Bremer from Anchorage, Alaska had met a guy online named Tyler. Tyler was supposedly a millionaire from Kansas and he fell madly in love with Denali after meeting her online. Tyler had promised Denali $9 million if she SA'd and unalived someone. If she were to videotape the crimes and send him photos of what happened, then the money would be hers. The two quickly formed a close bond and within months they began their plans. The thing was, Tyler was lying about who he was. His name was actually Darren Showmiller and he wasn't a millionaire. He was just a regular guy living in Indiana. Denali had no idea that he wasn't who he said he was.
Catfish.
Denali and Darren had exchanged numerous messages how this plan was going to work. Denali took no time to choose her best friend, 19-year-old Cynthia Hoffman. Denali had chose 4 of her closest friends, and if they were to help out with the plan, they would get some of the money, which included 2 juveniles who have not been named, and we have Caden and Caleb. On June 2nd of 2019, Cynthia had left her home to hang out with some friends. She failed to return home, so her father tried to report her as missing, but when he went to the police, they said that he had to wait at least 24 hours. Denali had called Cynthia's dad throughout the night, telling him how she hoped that Cynthia was okay, and since they were best friends, Cynthia's dad did not find this strange at all. A few days later, Cynthia's body was found in a river. She had suffered a gunshot wound in the back of her head. The police had investigated her death and put together details pretty quickly. Denali was then brought into the station for questioning. Denali had mentioned to investigators that all of the friends were playing a game where they all duct tape each other. Cynthia was first in the game and she immediately knew it wasn't a game anymore when Denali had retrieved a gun and pointed it at her. That is when Caleb had grabbed the gun from Denali and shot Cynthia in the back of the head. Denali was excited what she had did to her best friend, so she immediately called Darren, and that's when she knew that she was tricked. Denali had led detectives to the others who had participated, and they were arrested within a few days. In February of 2023, Denali had accepted a plea deal and will spend at least 30 years in prison. In August of 2023, Darren had pled guilty, and he will be sentenced at a later date. As for Caleb, in November of 2023, he pled guilty to second-degree murder, and he is expected to be in jail for up to 75 years.
All for some freaking money, man. Sickening.
These are the world's most haunted dolls. Starting at number 4. Letta the doll. A 200-year-old wooden doll with human hair. She was discovered beneath a house in Australia. Kerry Walton, the caretaker of this doll, witnessed many strange things ever since he took her inside his home. Marks on the floor, objects mysteriously moving, and strange noises at night. Number 3. Okiku. This doll was purchased by a young man in 1918 in Japan as a gift for his younger sister. Tragically, after a year, the little girl passed away from a severe case of the flu. Sometime later, the family noticed something off about the doll's hair. It was originally short, and it has grown past its shoulder. Until this day, the doll's hair is maintained on a regular basis because it never stopped growing. Number 2. Annabelle. Known for its infamous movie releases and stories with Ed and Lorraine Warren, we do know that this doll is possessed by something that is evil, and whoever held this doll suffered from many bad things. Therefore, the doll is now stored in the Warren Museum, safe and sealed. But Annabelle is not the most haunted doll, because coming at number 1, Robert. Robert is not an ordinary doll. This thing is sinister. This doll is possessed by a demon, and it speaks to children. In Florida, in the early 1900s, this doll was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene, and his parents always used to hear Robert and his doll speak in the bedroom alone, and the family used to hear the voice of the doll respond. Eugene kept his doll till 1974 until he passed away at an old age. No one knew why this old man kept his doll for more than 70 years. After his death, Robert was given to the East Martello Museum. Visitors who have taken his picture without permission claim to have experienced terrible misfortune. If you visit Robert in the museum, you will see that this doll is surrounded by apology letters and also other letters, like permission to look at him. And no one dares to take a picture of Robert.
Today's story is about these life-size dolls. I don't know why she's looking at me like that. I'm not scared. We good. We're not scared. We are not scared. These stories make me so happy that there's so much shit under my bed that there's no room for monsters down there. So this lady says that when she was little, her father gifted her this life-size doll and she was in love with it. She loved this doll so much that she has kept it over the years and actually stored it underneath her daughter's bed. Mama ever did that shit? Anyway, she says that her daughter was actually really scared about that doll being stored under her bed. Why wasn't it under your bed, ma'am? And this is a story that her daughter tells her happened. So she wakes up in the middle of the night and thought that it was so weird that her arm was hanging between like the space of the wall and the bed. She thought it was weird because there had never been room there, so like it was always just the wall, her bed, no room for her arm to like go down there. When she tried to pull her arm out of that crack, she says that she felt like a little plastic hand grab it and pull it underneath the bed. After she finally pulled her arm out of there, she said that there were marks of a tiny hand on her hand. She was so scared that she ended up running to her mom's room and waking her up. Obviously, she tells her mom that she doesn't want that doll underneath her bed anymore. So her mom says that she did take that doll from underneath her bed. However, she still has it stored. She doesn't want to get rid of that doll. The way it would be burning if I had heard my child tell me that this happened. Like, not to be an asshole, but like, what does the mom think is gonna happen when one day she's not here? She thinks her daughters are gonna keep that doll forever? Girl, I will bury you with that doll because if you think I'm gonna keep that doll hearing what I just heard, was that too much? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But like, if you love it so much, I love you, jeez. It was nothing. It was the wind. I don't know what that sound was. I live in a townhome. I have neighbors. They're okay. We don't share any walls with them, but that could have been them. Anyway, what do you guys think about the doll? Because nothing happened in my office. Nothing happened here.
Interesting facts that will make you think.
Okay.
When people talk about traveling to the past, they worry about radically changing the present by doing something small.
True.
But barely anyone in the present thinks that they can radically change the future by doing something small. The person who invented audio recording probably thought it didn't work right when their voice sounded different. The best part of a cucumber kind of tastes like the worst part of a water balloon. An air conditioning repairman spends all day in buildings with no air conditioning. When it's fixed and finally cold, they leave. Security at every level of an airport is always taken very seriously. Until you get to baggage claim, because then it's just like take whatever bag you want. The amount of people older than you never gets bigger. When we're young, we sneak out of our houses to go to parties. When we're older, we sneak out of parties to go home. Follow for more.
Have you done that?
8 years old when you realized the candy lifesavers are shaped like a lifesaver because if a kid chokes someone, the hole in the middle will save their life because they'll still be able to breathe. I was 10 years old when I realized that the Krusty Krab is a crab trap. Next, after you take off the caps on these Kool-Aid drinks, you can actually flip it around and reclose your drink. Okay, flames don't have shadows. Did you know that Sid from Toy Story 1 is also the garbage man from Toy Story 3? And I was 10 years old when I realized that a Gatorade cap fits perfectly at the bottom of a Gatorade bottle.
Okay, we did learn some mind-blowing facts, man. I didn't even know you could twist those links off the Kool-Aid just... That was a cap. I always used to throw those away. And then we had a Sid 3 freaking... cameo in Toy Story 3. The more you know, man. Top in, man. You're gonna learn some interesting facts with this.
There are some facts that are guaranteed to make you go, wow.
Talk about it.
Tag some friends so they can also go, wow. This one's a bit mental. If you fully stretch out the DNA of just one of your cells, it'd be about 2 meters long. However, if you stretch all of the DNA from all of your cells out, it would reach twice the diameter of our solar system. There is such thing as a polka-dotted zebra. Since when? Chicago is actually sinking at a very similar rate to Venice. Everyone needs to know this. It's been determined by scientists that 3 seconds is the perfect dunking time for a British biscuit. You're welcome. And 4 seconds if it's an Oreo. Picasso's full name is actually 23 words long. Cool, but why? There's over $1 million worth of hidden treasure buried somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. I'll be right back. It takes 43 muscles to frown, however only 17 to smile. So what we've determined here is it's easier to be happy. Says he's screaming. Speaking to, if you didn't know any of these, you have to share it.
There's treasure in the Rocky Mountains? I'm on my way. We gotta go up
This is your friendly reminder that flies are racist, and you can use that to your advantage. Okay, not really. That was low-key clickbait, but hear me out. You can actually lower the chances flies press you based on the color of your clothes. According to studies, flies are most attracted to the color blue because I guess they mistake it for food or something. Dark browns and blacks close behind. Colors. We are fully talking about colors here. Generally, darker colors are more attractive to insects like black flies, but if you've been to any, I want to say, culturally diverse cookouts, you'll notice the flies have a type. Now, if wearing black isn't a choice but a way of life because, you know, studies also show that many disease-causing flies and mosquitoes hate bright colors like yellow and orange. And since flies are attracted to dark-moving objects, light, neutral colors, that's what you're going to want to go for. And if you're really not trying to mess with flies, striped clothing might actually confuse the flies and make them less likely to land on you. No joke, that's this Barcode Donkey's whole flow. But if you're not trying to do all that, wearing white, beige, or lighter colors like yellow for the summer might just be the move. The more you know.
Write that down, Seekers. Write that down. We need all those anti-colors, bro. When I'm going out, man, I'm gonna switch it up. No more freaking flies and mosquitoes for me, bro. They're hella annoying, man. I'm glad we're learning these facts out here.
According to experts, what you see first can say a lot about your personality. Today's fun personality test. Look at this picture and let me know what you see first. Comment it down in the comments, lock it in, and then I'm going to tell you what experts say about you.
What do you see?
You saw the trees first. According to experts, you have great intuition, and you always trust it. You have a very laid-back personality, and you like spending quiet time doing nothing. If you saw the tiger first, according to experts, you're very strong-minded. And once you make a decision, nothing can change that. And you're somebody who just likes a peaceful life. You don't get into drama just for the sake of getting into drama. So tell me in the comments what you saw first, and are experts right about you, or did they get it completely wrong? And for more fun personality tests like this, follow me.
The most
I saw the tiger.
Kid Snapchats. This kid was complaining that he crashed his Aston Martin, and he is now driving this, a Bentley. No way you're complaining about that, bro. Don't do that. This kid was mad that he was heading back to school. That was in his private jet. This guy posted a picture of a Rolls Royce and him wearing very expensive shoes. And he captioned it, peasant protection. What? This kid was complaining that his dad got him a bad first car and his dad promised him a Ferrari, showing that he got a new Porsche instead. Bro, I never want to hear you complaining again.
Me either.
You know that crying literally makes you prettier? My name is Angel, and I've been studying in the field of psychotherapy the past 7 years, as well as being a makeup TikToker. And guess what? I just got out of a lash appointment because I cried all of my lashes off this month. And am I mad at myself? Not one bit, because psychologically, crying is a sign that you're healing, not a sign that you're broken or weak. Why? Because your body is designed with something called lacrimal glands. Lacrimal glands are activated when you cry. When your lacrimal glands are activated, your body immediately goes from a state of fight or flight to rest and digest. Your body and your brain are literally threatened when you're in a state of fight or flight. But when you're in a state of rest and digest, you are healing. Your brain becomes prettier and healthier when you feel your emotions deeply. Don't feel wrong for crying. You're actually going in the right direction.
This photo shows 41-year-old Stephen Plattle marrying his 19-year-old daughter Katie, who is pregnant with his child.
Katie had been previously given up for adoption after her mother Alyssa realized that Steven was physically abusing their daughter. But in 2016, Katie, who's now 18 years old, wanted to reconnect with her biological parents and actually ends up moving in with them. But after some time, Alyssa realizes that her husband is acting very differently and is even starting to dress better. She decides to ignore this change in behavior until 2017, when Katie gets pregnant and the father is her father. Alyssa immediately divorces Steven, and just 2 months later, he and Katie are set to get married and give birth to a baby boy. Both the parents attend the wedding and support the marriage until 2018, when Katie begins to see a different side of Steven. But when she tries to end the relationship, Steven suffocates their newborn baby and stuffs him inside of a closet. He then proceeds to shoot both Katie and her adoptive dad.
It's a doom right from the start. That dog ain't sweet. Well, they said it was a skinwalker disguised as their dog. So I have a feeling you're in danger. Y'all know what I mean? Haha, I'm in danger. From the Simpsons. Yep, that's how I felt, bro, watching that.
As disturbing as it is entirely possible Amy Lynn Bradley was smuggled off this cruise ship in a suitcase. In 1998, Amy Lynn Bradley went on her family on a Royal Caribbean cruise, right? Early in the morning, her father last saw her on this balcony, and then he closed his eyes for 15 minutes, opened them, and she was gone. It would almost seem like she maybe fell overboard or even jumped overboard, but there's something much more disturbing that might have happened here. So this is a real photo from the ship. This is her first night on that ship when crew members started to notice her in the way she was dressed. There was even a report that there were several crew members who were preying on her. She was about 23 at the time. Even later that night, this is real footage from the dance floor that night on the ship where she appears to be pursued by one of the band members, Yellow. And of course, if you want the full episode on this, you gotta go check it out. Now, at the time the ship was docked, and 5 months later, witnesses claimed to see her on the beach where she disappeared in the possession of 2 men.
They're gonna say no, so here's what
Since the Olympics themselves don't give out any money to medal winners, it's left up to a country's government and sponsors to decide what they'll win. And boy, do they differ. I mean, starting with the host, France have increased their prize money to $86,000 for gold. USA pays $37,500. Canada are looking at about $16,000. Great Britain pay a whopping total of $0. And the same goes for Norway, New Zealand, and Sweden. But then we got the other extreme. Hong Kong is paying gold medal winners a staggering $780,000. They'll even pay you if you finish 4th to 8th place. Indonesia promised their last 2 gold medal winners 5 cows, a meatball restaurant, and a new house, and $350,000. Singapore, commonly confused with China by US lawmakers. No, Senator, again, I'm Singapore. Said they will give gold medal winners $744,000. Malaysia are giving out a foreign-made car. Kazakhstan are going for 3, 2, or 1-bedroom apartments. China has always kept theirs a little bit of a secret. And then, just for our rapid fire, we've got South Africa, Spain, Germany, Italy, Australia, and Thailand. Oh, and if you're wondering if athletes could at least just sell their gold medals, well, they're not actually made from pure gold. And if they were to sell them, they'd get about $960. That's it. So the question is, which country do you think takes the W for their prizes?
This is the one who gives out the most, man. I'm thinking when I was a kid, I know I wasn't the only thing when I was a kid. I thought if you want to go medal, you were rich, you were set for life. That said, if you sell it, bro, so you only get like $960. Yeah, we learning, bro. The Olympics, I said, they scamming, bro. Whole life a scam.
Clearest picture of a spirit that I've ever seen. When this photo was taken, there was no woman present inside of the building. And when investigators checked the photos that they had taken that night afterwards, they saw this ghostly face of a woman.
Whoa.
And what's really eerie about this is that this photo was taken inside of the Dumas brothel in Montana. And this location is known to be haunted by a number of women. I actually spent the night recently inside of the building where that photo was taken. Welcome to the Dumas brothel in Butte, Montana. Now, this place is haunted by a number of female spirits, And it has a pretty tragic history. So there were 3 deaths inside of the building, and all 3 of them could have been murders. In fact, one of the former madams of the brothel actually passed away up here in the upper floor of the building. And almost immediately afterwards, another woman took over her position, started driving her car, wearing her robes. So people definitely suspect it was a murder. In the basement of the building is a very scary portion of the place called the Cribs. I was talking to the owners of the building, and they think that there may have been illegal baby sales going on in the basement. And they also think the lives of babies and children may have been ended. The energy in here is so dark, it's so scary, and it's violent too. I saw it firsthand. I just can't get over this photo. I think it gives very uncanny valley vibes, and when I investigated there that night and actually was in the pitch black inside of that building, I couldn't stop thinking about how freaky this photo was, and the activity that we caught on camera that night definitely matched the vibe of this picture. It was scary, it was intense, something choked my dad out. I was with my dad, he almost had to quit investigating that night. Yeah, the video is on my YouTube channel now if you want to watch it. It's so crazy.
Should we check that out, Seekers? A full-on haunted freaking brothel? What the hell? Why didn't they just freaking knock down that building, man? Like you said, they had dark energy over there. Freaking brave soul investigating that. Paranormal. I don't know if I
The
can do it.
Armin Yamal cheating drama is just got so much crazier. Because not only is bro posting videos of him doing pull-ups in the gym the day after he may or may not have been cheated on, but he's also seen sat by a pool with his arm over a new girl. And I mean, at this point, I'm not even sure if she's special, because every shot that we're seeing, there's a new one. In this one, he sat next to a girl in a black bikini. And then moments later, there's another one with a yellow one this time. Point is, bro's really learning from Neymar. Now as for Alex Padilla, she removed the I'm married text from her TikTok bio today, and also deleted her Instagram that had over 500k followers. Her new Instagram only follows 34 people, and Lamine is still not one of them. She also posted a new video, which could be seen as a little bit of a dig, where she is wearing the Spanish national team shorts, and also with a song that translates to something about the line of, remember how perfect this body is. So the question is this going to turn Lamine into a beast, or distract him and send him on a bender?
The dark rumors about powerful people. Is there any truth to that?
My mom thinks there's a conspiracy theory where all the rich dudes get together in a room and they like plot like Inspector Gadget or something. Here's the problem with that theory. They have such big egos, they don't like each other. Elon Musk doesn't like Bill Gates. So there's no universe where those two dudes are at a table. Do you think you become a billionaire without being an extreme narcissist at some level? You are greedy and some level of psychopath. There's a ruthless level to it.
They're wired kind of like serial killers.
Exactly. Serial killers are solo wolves. Warren Buffett comes off as a nice guy, but trust me, this dude will eat your heart out in a negotiation.
Cool facts I think you should know.
What do you guys think?
2. The blast of air you feel when you walk into a store is meant to stop bugs from flying in. Some people are genetically predisposed to be more attractive to mosquitoes. People who trust their gut feelings are more likely to predict the outcomes of future events correctly. Tying your hair too tightly can strain your scalp's muscles and tendons, resulting in a ponytail headache. The feeling of your arm falling asleep at night is typically caused by pinched nerves, not a lack of blood flow or circulation. When you bring a live Christmas tree into your house, you're likely bringing spiders, mites, and other overwintering insects inside as well.
But I'm a live Christmas tree type of person. I don't like the fake trees. What do you guys think, Seekers? Are you guys fake tree persons, or you guys get the real pine trees, man? Those facts. Man, we are learning out here today, bro.
3 tips that can actually save your life. Number 1, if you're outside and your hair starts to do this, run and find shelter immediately. Because this is a sign lightning is about to strike right where you are. Number 2, if you're stuck in a falling elevator, do not jump or try to pry open the doors. You want to lay flat on your back on the floor. This position will give you the best chance of survival because it distributes the impact across your whole body. Number 3, if you're stuck in a sinking car, do not try to open the door. The water pressure against the door will be too strong and will not allow you to. You want to undo your seatbelt and roll down your window as fast as you can because this will allow you to escape.
Here are 7 facts you need to know today. Let's start off with the fact that the average person walks the equivalent of 5 laps around the world in their lifetime. Yeah, that means you. Time to get those steps in. Globally, only 2% of people actually have green eyes. And it is considered the most attractive eye color. So basically, send this to someone who has green eyes. Domino's are currently trialing drones for their delivery process. That's right, instead of a guy rocking up their car with your pepperoni passion pizza, you've now got a drone. Coming up to your window. TGI Friday promotion called Mobile Mistletoe used a drone to fly mistletoe around the restaurant to random customers. This was a really cool idea until one service when the drone flew into a customer's nose. This person became the Van Gogh of noses, if you know what I mean. What I'm trying to say is drones, if flown correctly, are a lot of fun. And if you're planning on getting a drone anytime soon, there are cheap options to start with. Banggood actually offer insane prices on drones, as well as literally everything else you can think of. The link is in my bio, and thank me later. Finally, in 1673, the Big Apple, New York, was known as the Big Orange. Elon!
The Big Orange? When the hell they changed the name to the Big Apple?
Weird ass facts that I know for some reason. Most Koreans have a genetic mutation called ABCC11, which makes their sweat odorless. If you ate a polar bear's liver, you would literally die because there's way too much vitamin A for a human to handle. If you ever find yourself seeing an anteater doing this silly T-pose, get the fuck away, because that is their way of warning you that they're about to claw your eyes out. On average, around 2,195 children die from diarrhea every single day. That is more than AIDS, measles, and malaria combined. Around 95% of whale semen is dumped into the ocean during mating season. You actually have a lot more in common with gorillas than you think. For instance, the average length of a gorilla's schlong is 2 inches.
He just tried to cook everybody, bro. Who was? Why is he trying to cook people, bro? And I never knew that fact about damn diarrhea. All the other ones combined, man. That's how people go out.
Lamine Yamal just get cheated on because the video that is going viral is striking god-level fear into every man's heart right now. Although Lamine never publicly said it was official, he brought Alex Pernella out after he won the Euros final. And just a few days ago, they went on holiday together in Greece. So, yeah, they were probably dead. But then, last night, a live stream went viral showing Alex with a group of friends. And at the start, yeah, it didn't seem like much. Then, a couple minutes later, this brother filming raises the phone and shows her either sat on another guy's lap or at least very close. Almost immediately, she smacks the phone out of the guy's hands and says this in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. Someone translate in the comments, please. Now, let's be honest. This isn't proof that she cheated or that they even broken up. But this morning, they no longer follow each other on Instagram. And guys are now saying that if Lamine could get cheated on, none of us are safe. And that she fumbled the bag. She fumbled generational wealth for the love of the game. But if you do get any actual confirmation, I'll let you guys know. These are creepy facts
you know what happened.
that are
They
absolutely
ain't loyal.
disturbing. Part 1. Up first, you breathe in dead skin every single day of your life. This is because the dust in your house is actually 50% dead skin, which is from yourself and family. So next time you're around your house and you see dust, just know that's 50% dead skin. Next up, your eyeballs are a part of your brain. Your eyeballs are so close and connected to the brain that they're considered a part of the brain. This is absolutely mind-blowing, and I never knew this. Finally, death of an old age is not a real thing at all. You can't die of old age, only by the diseases brought on by old age. Up first, your belly button is an ecosystem. There are at least 2,300 distinct different species of bacteria living in your belly button. So next time you're in the shower, make sure to wash your belly button because I know you definitely forget. Next up, did you know spicy food literally tastes like a burn? When tasting spiciness, the tongue is actually tricked, and your brain senses temperature. So that spicy feeling you feel whenever you eat spicy food, that's actually just your mouth burning. Finally, your brain can live without a body. The human head can stay conscious up to 20 seconds after being decapitated. Just imagine being decapitated and your head is just laying on the ground and you can still hear, see, and think. That's what you call a living nightmare.
In the sky. You can't tell me this is not an island in the sky.
My God.
What is that?
I don't know.
Is that heaven bleeding through to our reality? Or another dimension? Or is it just a mirage? That's insane. The more you zoom in, the more it looks like little trees on this piece of land. Or this could be a portal that is showing a distant land in some other universe. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
There's some crazy history you didn't learn in school. At one point, the US was planning to detonate a nuke on the moon just to show off during the space race. Hitler, Stalin, Trotsky, and Tito were all living in Vienna at the same time in 1913, all unaware of what was about to unfold over the following decades. North Korean archaeologists once claimed that they found a real unicorn lair. In 1835, the United States had no national debt, and that lasted for 1 year. There is a Titanic monument in Washington, D.C. that was funded by women for the men who died so that women and children could survive.
The creepy bunker is what I will tell you on this place. Maybe it's the extensive cave system in the backyard. This is a home for sale right now in Shelbyville, Tennessee. The address literally is Zero Cavern Bunker, and it truly is one of a kind. This is what the house looks like from the outside. Find a bunker hiding in a cave in the backyard. This is a 2-bed, 2-bath home with a full workshop attached, and they include pictures of a Humvee, which actually comes with the property. Interestingly enough, the house also comes fully furnished, almost like they're trying to get rid of anything that may have an ancient spirit attached to it. The property has a whole bunch of outbuildings. Here's one of them, and then they have this little cabin that's currently being used as a chicken coop. Now, I don't know if the chickens come with the property or not, but that is an important question. I'm assuming this is the trail you have to take to get to the bunker, which is built into the cave, and this cave system is extensive. I mean really extensive. In the listing description, it says that it covers 60,000 square feet.
Damn.
Just think of all the exploring you could do here. They also say that all other entry points into the cave system have been blocked off with over 10 tons of steel, which is kind of terrifying to think about. My imagination just runs wild with this place. Imagine the spooky seances you could host here. I'm pretty upset that they don't show you what the inside of the bunker looks like, but with all of the property they have, with all of the outbuildings, and the cave system, Halloween parties would go so hard here.
Everyone always talks about Annabelle, but there are so many other terrifying objects inside of the Warren Museum. Like their shadow doll that can be used for curses. Also follow along if you want me to go through more of their collection. Now, according to the Warren files, the origins of the shadow doll are a little murky, but the story goes that a couple found it inside of an antique shop and brought it home with them. And immediately they started noticing that something was wrong with it. They would wake up in the middle of the night with mysterious scratches and bruises all over their body. And also, the closer they looked at it, the more they could tell that it was made with real human and animal materials. Like you can see here, it has black crow feathers all around its head, but it also has one real human tooth lodged inside of its mouth. They also realized that this doll can be used to perform curses. If you take a picture of it, print out the photo, write someone's name on the back and mail it to them, that is how you do the shadow doll curse. And what this basically does is that person will then start having nightmares about the shadow doll, and when the shadow doll is in your dreams or nightmares, that is how it can kill you. Now, I talked about this doll in this episode that I did over the summer on Annabelle's whole curse tour that she was doing, but this is one of the objects from the Warren Museum that they take on tour, so you can go see this thing out in the wild. But yeah, while everyone's focused on Annabelle, there's other really freaky things that are inside of that museum.
Stay away from that.
CEO has just made a fatal mistake. So on Thursday night, a very famous Polish tennis player was signing autographs for fans and attempted to give his cap to a young boy in the crowd. That's when a fully grown man snatches it to the disbelief of the boy and then hides it in his partner's bag. And boy, was that a mistake. Because as soon as this clip went viral, the internet didn't just identify the man and then absolutely scorch him online, but they also found that he is a CEO of a paving business, and then they started raining down hellfire in the form of bad reviews. Now, the Polish CEO has since deactivated all of his social media accounts, and according to the tennis player, Kamil, the CEO has since attempted to apologize to the boy and his family. And this all actually has a pretty happy ending, because instead of just getting the hat, Kamil went out of his way to find the boy and then give him a replacement and even more gifts. So, for any CEOs watching, lay low. This is not your time.
Y'all, what the fuck is going on with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? When you're looking at this picture, the first thing that comes to your mind is like, it's AI, right? Or this man look like a wax figure. But nah, y'all, this is a real picture. I'll show y'all the video. Y'all, this is really real. Look at him. Do that look like The Rock to you?
Nah.
I understand that he's 52, 53 years old. I get it. Everybody ages. But bruh, he was just like 200 and something pounds. Right here, he looked like he a buck 190. Y'all, this was not too long ago. Look how big he was. Now look right here. Is he sick? I'm hearing they said this man lost over 100 pounds, y'all. He really went from this to this. Why would this man lose 100 pounds? What the fuck? I could see 50 or something, but 100? That's why this man looking sick like this? I'm not used to seeing this, y'all. My boy Strange Zone pointed it out to me and I was just like, what the fuck? I've been seeing this man since WWE, WWF. And I'm like, what the F? Floating?
I think people just gotta get used to his new appearance, man. I mean, when he dropped down, I guess all that muscle, yeah, you're gonna look different. So I'm about to say, and he said he's 55 as well, so probably couldn't, I guess, keep up that workout routine. Just gonna take a while to get used to, man.
Around social media all day today, there has been nothing but talk of the absence of Donald Trump. Everyone is saying he hasn't been seen for days. And this all seems kind of not like Donald Trump, because he's been running rampant for the past 6 months nonstop with things every single day on his calendar. And as you can see here, President Trump has gone dark. His schedule was wiped through the weekend. And this is a look of the schedule of the White House that they put out from Friday all the way through Saturday into Sunday. There is absolutely nothing planned with the president. And there is ever-growing speculation being fueled by the J.D. Vance interview that he did when he went on TV, where he claimed that he is ready to take over as president if, God forbid, there's a terrible tragedy with Donald Trump. And a lot is also being made of the fact that Labor Day is coming up on Monday here in the U.S., and there is nothing planned or nothing scheduled with Donald Trump. So I guess my question to you is he just enjoying a 3-day holiday weekend like most are in the U.S.? Or is there more to this? And was this taken out of context, or was just an answer to a question? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Pickpocketers.
We're gonna find out soon.
New York and play in New York, you gonna stay in New York. So a European pickpocketer thought he was gonna come to New York and start pickpocketing people, and now he missing. My thing is, the last pickpocketing situation just went viral. You see that people in America do not play with pickpocketers. So this very unintelligent pickpocketer apparently pickpocketed the wrong person. They're saying that police went to his room, hotel room that is. He had items that he stole from everybody, but he's not there. For one, you already know the cops not rocking with you. Number two, you probably got your ass beat. And worse, if you didn't get your ass beat, you in one of these rivers over here. And I'm gonna say this again, just like I said last time. I don't think people from other countries understand how Americans get down. We do not play that pickpocketing shit. You will get your ass beat. And then we're in New York. You did this shit in New York. The melting pot of melting pots, where anybody and everybody is walking around with an attitude. And you say, you know what? I'm gonna steal something today. And somebody else is like, yeah, you stole something, now I'm gonna whip your ass, or worse. So most likely, 9 times out of 10, if this person is missing, man, he might not find him. Stay out of New York with the bullshit. Stay out of America with the bullshit. For real.
You're at Walmart.
Take heed to his words.
No,
Don't get me started. Listen to this. Okay, so
he knows.
You're about to convert me into a non-Walmart person, and I've been Walmart ride or die for my whole life.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so Walmart really put in the muscle to make all these self-checkouts, you know? So firing a ton of staff and stuff.
Saving so much money.
Yeah. And the whole idea is, right, is like you're going to save a lot of money because you don't have to hire staff. It's just self-checkout. They lost amounts of money. Record amounts of money.
In theft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it was like last quarter was like 300 million or something.
Damn.
Probably even more than that. But now they're coming out with, it's called Walmart Plus. So basically, you pay $98 a year in order to be able to use the self-checkout.
They think they're Amazon. Like,
what?
What do they do? That's not
is
gonna work.
going on?
We're paying you to work for you?
Yeah.
That
makes no sense.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So like here's an idea, because they can't just like get rid of it.
The investment they put in it.
The investment, but also like getting more staffing and
that's where the future's going. Like they're not going backward.
No, Michael Jordan.
Who is paying $98 a year to use the self-checkout in Walmart? That's crazy. I haven't even seen that yet. Hopefully it never comes to my area, man, but $98 a year, man, to use self-checkout like you said. They think they Amazon, bro. No. They tried to take the shortcut, man, fire their staff. Look what happened. I don't know if that was karma trying to balance them out or what.
He has a superstition.
About what?
When he used to play, all of those years where he was dominating, he would wear his North Carolina shorts under his Chicago uniform.
Yeah.
And I didn't even take it in. They put that in Space Jam too.
Oh,
he's
there's
like,
like a
I hate
hidden?
my shorts.
Someone's gonna have to go to
his college basketball shorts on underneath his uniform.
Yeah.
Because he had like a thing that he would play really well.
The time, 18. Michael Jordan, 14 seconds.
Who's the GOAT to y'all? Jordan or LeBron? See, cause I need to know. What is up with these planes? Y'all saw that?
Y'all know what Hollywood represents? It comes from the holly tree. Back in ancient times, what was the holly tree used for? The wood of the holly tree was used to craft wands. And what is a wand used for? We all seen Harry Potter is used to cast spells, weave spells, conjure things. And when they wanted to cast spells on a massive scale, they would use like mediums, they would use psychics, you know, people like that. And usually mediums, psychics, they would have crystal balls. The crystal ball was not always clear. Sometimes it was black. Look it up. There's black crystal balls. And the black ones are actually more potent. Keep that in mind. Well, fast forward to nowadays, and we all have these black reflective screens in our hands. These black reflective screens in our houses. And we use the black reflective screens in our houses to watch channels. Back in the day when they used to cast spells, they were channeling them to people. And we also have TV stations where we're watching broadcasting. And they're called TVs, televisions. So they're telling you a vision like a crystal ball. But they also tell lies to your vision because not everything you see on these motherfuckers is real. When you peep the English language, this shit kind of wild. See, when you be studying too much stuff, you really don't look at life the same anymore.
Not even trying to hide it anymore.
Crazy.
Giving out these awards, this guy named Noel McDonald came out on the stage and literally started exposing truth in plain sight, while the crowd started laughing uncomfortably like he's just joking. Check this out.
Who has something very important to say.
My name is Johnny Two Feathers. While you enjoy tonight's show, I want you to think about something. The spot where you're sitting, every square foot of ground in this country was stolen from my ancestors. And after you stole it, you them. There is nothing funny about the extermination of a people.
This is where the audience just kept laughing and he kept going on exposing truth before having to go off stage.
The theater stinks of blood, all I have to say.
Two Feathers, everybody. Johnny Two Feathers. Give him a wave, Johnny. But Johnny, you know how to wave? All right. Well, Johnny Two Feathers.
So do you think this was just a comedy thing or telling us the truth in plain sight?
You ever ask yourself, why do people love McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, Wendy's, Arby's, Chick-fil-A? What if I told you that these corporations is using witchcraft in their food to keep you hooked? Yes, it's a reason why so many people are lined up every day eating from these corporations. It's not just the color yellow, the color red, but that's important, but it's really witchcraft. Everything is dealing with our blood. You do know that some woman uses their menstrual cycles in people's food to put curses on them. I've heard so many stories of women putting their menstrual cycles inside of men's spaghetti sauce. But it's not just about this. When you kill these animals, that is a blood sacrifice. When we eat these animals, that is a blood sacrifice. The animal sacrifice is another form of using period blood. But this story is about to get a little deep. Stay with me. We are dealing with a spiritual parasites known as the Archons. We can't see these life forms, but they can see us. They know this planet is like a farm We eat the beasts and they eat us. We hear about these kind of parasites all the time, right? Parasites, worms in our stomach. We should do a parasite and worm detox. We hear about this shit a lot. But what we don't hear about is the spiritual parasites we can't see. They are the ones that set up these fast food restaurants. We think we are eating food, but we are really eating death. Everything is dealing with magic and witchcraft. When you use herbs and seasoning, that is witchcraft or a potion. It even has certain spells you can use for health, success, courage, and it's all dealing with seasonings. The reason why you love this food so much is because they put a season or a spell on it. Everything in this reality is dealing with magic or breaking bread. If you ever do a ceremony or a ritual, what do you use? Sage, incense. Well, if you use the right combination, you can make a magic spell. These fast food restaurants came up with the right recipe and they made a magic spell. That's why they said, let your food be your medicine. These seasonings can heal us. This is not just food. It's really, really medicine. Just how the planet have 4 seasons to make seasons for us. But the archons is really tricky. Everything is dealing with symbols. If we eat the wrong food, it gives us parasites. If we eat low vibrational food, the spiritual parasites can kill us. That's why they gave us a fork. That's why they gave the devil a fork. They're trying to tell us that the food we eating is going to kill us. It's always good to eat a home cooked meal. You want your food to be made out of love. Our ancestors tried to warn us. That's why they said when you eat, say a prayer to cleanse your food, to be thankful and cleanse it. Our energy is connected to our intentions. So if we have good intentions, our food can be healed. But when you go and buy fast food, think about all the people that's fucking mad that they gotta make this food. That energy is going into...
So I guess this is the real reason why they call it Tucson, Arizona, because 2 suns would have to be doing this, because that first sun, that yellow sun, was not as powerful. The earth is literally screaming for thirst, y'all. And it's crazy how the dichotomy of, right, we have all these cities flooding, right, these rivers swelling up, the oceans are doing the most, but the desert is staying dry. So you guys know they can't build without water, right? And because of this, this has halted the production of a whole bunch of new homes in Arizona, y'all. Check, and it's causing people's bills to spike as well.
Phoenix, Arizona is banning the construction of new homes because they're running out of water, but they're not saying why the water is running out. Factory Farms. This is a picture of Lake Mead, which provides water for 20 million people. It's the single largest water reservoir in the nation. Or I should say, it used to be. This is Lake Mead today. The Colorado River, which feeds into Lake Mead, is going completely dry. But it's not ordinary people who are using the water. A recent study found that there's one polluter that uses 5 times the water of all the residential homes in the area. Factory farming. Worse yet, even as ordinary citizens are seeing their water bills skyrocket, factory farms are being subsidized, including a $1 billion deal by the federal government last week.
So maybe it's not just ICE that's arresting these construction workers, that's halting all this construction work. Y'all see Mother Nature is fighting back as well. But yeah, y'all, 2 suns, y'all. The shift is here. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
People are getting microchip implants. A Wisconsin company called 3 Square Mart has been doing it for a while, and now it's happening in Sweden.
People in Sweden putting implants, microchips, right, into them. We've seen something like this here. There's a company that
in Wisconsin,
right, so they could get stuff out of the vending machine with these microchips. So what's happening in Sweden?
So basically, in Sweden, over the past couple of years, several thousand people have had these little rice grain-sized microchips put into their hands, which contain information that they can use to, say, check into the gym or get into the office or pay for train tickets, right? So on the one hand, everyone can appreciate that that's convenient, right? How many times have you been looking for your key fob at the gym or can't remember your password for something? But I think the bigger question here is, look, as the human body itself becomes a technological platform, right, there are big questions we need to consider about what kind of information is put out about us, from us, quite literally, and also further down the line, what kind of access do other people or platforms have to that information that is inside us, right? This is a biotech question, this kind of blurring of the lines between the human body and tech. I mean, it's one thing if you're holding your smartphone and it's sort of emitting data about you. It's another thing if your own hand is doing the same thing.
You didn't learn in school. A 61-year-old farmer entered a multi-day 544-mile ultra marathon against world-class athletes. He had no idea he was supposed to sleep during this and beat everyone by over 10 hours. There was an artist in 1982 who planted a 2-acre wheat field next to the World Trade Center. She did this specifically to highlight the contrast between nature and the global economic priorities. Barbara Morgan was a backup astronaut for the Space Shuttle Challenger. She returned to being an elementary school teacher after the disaster, was later selected by NASA as a mission specialist, and in 2007 became the first teacher to fly to space. She was also supposed to fly on the Space Shuttle Columbia a year later after it came back down to Earth and exploded. She was on a training plane that was chasing that rocket, getting ready for her next flight when that happened. I can't even. After 2 close calls, I don't know how she got on that third one. Bravo to her. This is a 2,700-year-old leather saddle from northwestern China. This is considered to be the oldest that we've ever found.
Okay.
Did you know that the reason that the sun and the moon appear to be the same size in the sky is actually because the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, and the sun is 400 times further from the earth than the moon is. So that's why. It's just science and math, you guys. It's not like God made them the same size for important reasons and celestial events. This is my driver.
The eclipse.
You guys take the magic and fun out of everything and call it science, I swear to God.
Do you realize how crazy it is that the first sin of mankind was Adam and Eve taking a bite out of an apple from the tree of knowledge which led to the fall of man? And now half the world walks around with a library of virtually infinite knowledge in their pockets with the logo of a bitten apple on the back of it, which they were tempted to do by a serpent who promised that they would be unharmed. And now we all take health advice from an international organization whose logo is a snake overlooking a flattened map of the world. Yo, that's enough for today for entertainment purposes only.
But yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic where he's willing to just like, it doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
Now, I hope you guys are really starting to see what these people are really about. It's all one big club, and we ain't in it, and we don't want to be in it. Trust me. The truth is all coming to light. We need to stop worshiping these people. Peace and love.
I think it's time to talk about Neverland Ranch because so many people keep bringing up Michael Jackson's name as it pertains to the Epstein files. Now, a lot of people are saying that Michael Jackson has been a creep and he's been a weirdo, and that is what people have thought about him for decades, that he was always weird, liking little kids, all these different things. But the evidence shows otherwise. The evidence shows that he has never done anything wrong. In fact, the evidence shows that he created Neverland Ranch as a safe place for kids to go because he knew all of the sinister things that was happening in Hollywood. Perhaps Neverland was a place that the kids can go to be free from the demons at places like Epstein Island. Now, we know Macaulay Culkin, the Home Alone kid, right? He said just now, he came out a couple days ago, I think, and he said that Michael Jackson never did anything to any kid ever at Neverland Ranch. This is somebody who was at Neverland Ranch. And he said Michael Jackson, if anything, just loved them. He loved the kids. And let's not forget that Macaulay Culkin is the same person who said in an interview, said he was better off because kids go through what he went through, but at least he's rich from it. He feels sorry for the kids who go through what he went through and they have nothing from it, like they have nothing to show for it. It's a little bit better because at least at the end of it, he has something to show for it. So this is a kid who has been in the industry and has been through so much, and we know a lot of Macaulay Culkin's history. He's saying that Michael Jackson Neverland Ranch was just a safe. People are saying that Neverland Ranch was created as the opposite, the polar opposite of places like Jeffrey Epstein's Island. And that's exactly what I think. And mind you, I'm not the biggest Michael Jackson fan, but I think the evidence points toward that. But of course, because he's dead, it's easy to throw somebody who's dead under the bus. And that's exactly what they're trying to do with Michael Jackson's name.
Really? The Lorax is in the files?
You motherfuckers. You motherfuckers. I just figured this whole shit out. So if physically the earth is made up of the same exact elements as us, that means energetically earth is Gaia. Gaia meaning a living system that produces energy, magnetic fields, and vibrations that life respond to. Stick with me.
Okay.
That means spiritually, earth is a school, a training ground for consciousness. Stick with me. You motherfuckers. If my body is a microcosm and my DNA resonates with the Earth's energy, that means DNA is the code of life. DNA is the code of life, and Earth is the vibrational system supporting life. And when your DNA and Earth is aligned in sync, your health improves. Your energy flows better. Earth gave your DNA raw material and the vibration to operate at full potential. So you're not just floating meat on the rock. You are literally coded to Earth. This is why I teach how to charge your mind and body so you can ground back with the Earth, and how to structure your water at home so you can tune your internal God to the planet's frequency.
Every year for the last 236 years, the US president has delivered a message to the country's top officials. And as you'd expect, this year made history. So these are the three key takeaways from this year's State of the Union. Firstly was the record-shattering length. Here we have the YAP leaderboard, and as you can see, Trump and Clinton are the GOATs in this category, with last night's speech being 1 hour and 47 minutes. The comparison, Nixon wrapped up in less than 30 minutes in 1972, and bro had the Watergate scandal and Vietnam War to talk about. Second key takeaway was the huge divide. Well, at least from those who actually attended, because over 70 Democrats actually boycotted the speech. And the third key takeaway was a huge dose of USA. Trump described the current period as the golden age for America, from the economy, saying that he had overseen a turnaround for the ages, to casting the country's 250th birthday as one of the most important moments in US history. Erica Kirk was given a standing ovation for her husband, who Trump has described as an American hero and his friend, and he even brought in the US men's hockey team after their gold medal win against Canada, with of course loud chants of USA. He spent about 6-7 minutes celebrating their achievement, which is about 22% of Nixon's speech in 72. And their goalkeeper, Connor Hellebuck, was even given the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That is the highest honor a US civilian can get. So the question is, do you guys think that the US has had a good first year with Trump in office or not?
So you see how this
I'm down below.
100% whole wheat. Okay, it contains wheat and soy. Okay, those are the main ingredients. Whole wheat flour, everything else, monocalcium, monoglycerides. Monoglycerides is pork. You're eating pork and nature's own 100% whole wheat, right? So even though it says 100% whole wheat, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's pork free.
Can it?
Friendly note, man. I guess when some says it's 100% free or something like that, it really isn't. All you got to do is just turn around and look at the ingredients on the back. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
Anyone tell me why all of these celebrities were seen wearing boots that were concealing an ankle monitor? Why would they do that? If their right ankle is broken, why would you see them the next day wearing the boot on their left leg? Doesn't make any sense. unless they were forced to do this as a part of an optics operation to tell the public indirectly that they had been captured and they had to capitulate to whatever organization had caught them for the crimes that they committed. And they had to wear these ankle-monitors that would follow them everywhere they went until they eventually got sent to a prison over maybe in Guatemala. And I mean, it's literally every celebrity. And if you dig deep enough, you'll find in the Epstein files that most of these people have been mentioned in there, and they all had to wear these boots to track them wherever they went, and also send a message to you, the public, that they had been captured. Do you get what is going on here? It's the art of war. The operation had to be this way. The underground branch of the military could not have done it any other way, otherwise it would have caused too much chaos.
You gotta see the alignment for, even with content creators and who they're aligning with. Mr. Beast, he just aligned with the Rockefeller. What type of move is that? What kind of shit is going on? So we're talking a guy named Mr. Beast. Beast System. Who's aligning with the Beast System? So get this, two things. Mr. Beast gets with Rockefeller and he is doing charity work. Now he's over there helping people in Africa, kids and all this stuff with the Rockefeller Foundation. Now two things. For one, have you guys seen his food line, Feastables? Yeah. Mr. Beast? Yes, Mr. Beast. Break it down. Okay, so there is a particular, I believe it's a Sour Patch brand in Feastables. If you look on the bag, it has these little swirlies. Now what does it look like? Showing the triangles, swirls, looks exactly like it. That's one. Now you're helping kids in Africa. Weird, but also the fact that you're teaming up with Rockefeller, they, for one, that can never be good. Yeah, that can never be good. Let's run down real quick who they are. They funded the school system. Oh, the original indoctrination camp. Exactly. A lot of people don't know that they funded the school system and they got the idea from war-torn Europe, from Stalin, to indoctrinate kids, because whenever they had a war, guess what? Now you have a bunch of indoctrinated kids ready to go to war because you've been in school for 8 hours a day telling them propaganda. The fact that this guy who plays Squid Games with people, look at all his games. He has Squid Game types of content all the time. But tell me why. Mr. Beast, his grandfather worked for Raytheon. Oh shit. Who were they? Raytheon is one of the biggest contractors for the military on Earth. Wow, these people got government ties. So you have a military contract defense company that is the biggest in the military. You have to look at pattern recognition. Who else is part of the government that's in either tech or content or people who are aligning with these people? Jeff Bezos. Oh yeah. His grandfather is one of the founders of DARPA. Once you start to put the pieces together, you're like, wait a minute, you aren't really who you say you are. You're not self-made. You ain't get it out the mud. Seems like it. You ain't get out the mud, buddy.
So how do you get pulled over by the police and ticketed for driving while operating a phone that was in your right hand, but you don't have a right hand? You ain't hear what I just said? So a woman in Florida was driving and got pulled over by the police. The cop said he saw her operating the phone with her right hand, but she don't have a right hand. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. Listen to this shit.
For driving with a device in your right hand, even if you don't have a right hand.
She gotta know.
So you're gonna receive a citation for wireless communication device handheld while driving.
Listen.
Yeah, we gotta put the phone down as we operate a motor vehicle.
Oh, and you put on there that you saw me with my right hand holding
Right
it,
hand?
yeah?
Not with that, no, if you want to take it.
But that's what you said when you pulled me over, yes? That you saw me holding my device with my right hand.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
Yes, if you
Wow.
want to take it to court,
And that's what you saw?
that's what I said.
That's
Wow.
what you said you saw?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm quite sure that he noticed that that lady didn't have a right hand. But he stuck with his story. Look at the rest of the video.
Okay.
This shit is crazy.
Okay.
Take it to court.
Why didn't he just rip the ticket out?
That's how you take that ticket to court.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Wow. She ain't got no right hand. I'm out. And these are the same cops that we're supposed to trust with our lives. Lives. He's seen that this lady did not have a right hand. How was she holding that phone?
He just wouldn't take that L, bro. How could he not see that? As soon as you pull up the window, bro, should have just took it back, man. But I guess he had no choice then. He had to go through with it.
Big Food just found a way to hack Ozempic, and they're doing it in secret. The story is actually crazy. Okay, so there's a food laboratory in Northern California called Matson that is, quote unquote, creating the future of food. It's run by this guy named Justin Shimmick. PhD, so you know he is a smart guy, and he has monetized his intelligence quite well. It says for nearly 50 years, Matson has conceptualized, developed, branded, and scaled hundreds of product lines, and in the process created billions of dollars in revenue for clients. And right now, their clients, Big Food, is asking them to do experiments that will reformulate ingredients so that their food can bypass the effects of Ozempic, Wegovy, and other GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Because from a financial perspective, people on these weight loss drugs are buying less food. Walmart CEO John Furner recently told Bloomberg News that the company is seeing signs that people taking GLP-1 agonist appetite suppressant medications are buying, quote, less units, slightly less calories, which equals less profit. New York Times has reported that sales are down in sweet baked goods and snacks, and the industry is weathering a downturn. That's a big problem for these food executives. So in response, the food companies are designing what they call GLP-1 optimized products. In layman's terms, they're trying to make the food more addictive, even more addictive than they already are, because we know that food is already pretty addictive. Quote, there is little the industry hasn't tried to keep health-conscious consumers eating. Companies conceal clouds of nostalgic aromas into packaging to trigger Proustian reverie. When they discovered that noisier chips induced people to eat more of them, snack engineers turned up the crunch. Food technologists found a way to amplify the intensity of artificial sweeteners to hundreds of times beyond sugar's natural flavor. The structure of salt crystals can be altered to accelerate the speed at which they absorb into the chemical pathways that signal saltiness, allowing the brain to perceive the flavor more intensely. In the chemosensory world, referring to the science of how chemicals provoke sensations, almost anything is possible. Yeah, I suppose almost anything is possible, but I think the certainty here is that we're going to be left with a bunch of people who are still obese, taking drugs with, pretty bad side effects that no longer work. That, I would say, is not ideal. And worse yet, it's all being done in secret, okay? When asked, Justin Shimmick wouldn't say which companies he was working with to develop these GLP-1 products, saying, quote, we are professional secret keepers. These people are sick.
And now with the Forerunner Chronicles, and right now we're in downtown Toronto on Yonge and Davenport, and as you can see, I'm in front of a Masonic temple. But that's not all it is. Check this out.
MTV?
That's right, as you can see, this Masonic temple is actually MTV's studio. MTV Studios actually bought this Masonic temple to shoot programming in here. And this is just additional information to help you understand everything that we've been talking about in the videos, how they actually try to tap into this occult power so that they can influence our minds with this media. That's what's going on right here behind us at this MTV studio building, which is nothing more than a Masonic temple. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. This thing is serious.
Yeah, y'all gotta explain to me what kind of animal is this, because I'm not from this country. The school didn't do too much of a good job teaching us about the animals and stuff like that. But I know for one, I have never seen this thing in my life, y'all. And people in my comments are saying the same thing. What the heck is that, y'all? What is this? This thing washed up on the shores of Long Beach, California. Did y'all hear about this? They're probably not saying too much about this. What is this, y'all? Check this out.
What is that?
Yeah, what is that? It's not no dog, bro. Look at this. What is that? Yeah, they must be doing something in the water, man. They must be doing something in the water, because this is something I have never seen before. I don't know if it's a water animal. It looked like a mix between a seal, a pig, a dog. It looked like it got human feet. Look at this. It looked like a seal too, bro. It looked like a seal. But nonetheless, 2026 got a whole bunch of surprises. Let me know down in the comments below if you've seen this before, y'all. The ship is here.
If you're home alone right now, skip this video. An 8-year-old girl bravely fought off a terrifying intruder who entered her home in the middle of the night wearing a clown mask. On the 15th of October, a scene unfolded in a small town like that from a horror film. At around 1:30 a.m., a man broke into a child's bedroom in Colorado. Police described the incident as an attempted child abduction, with the man entering the room in a dark hoodie and a cloth clown mask. Terrifyingly, the little girl was blindfolded and snatched off her bed as the man tried to take her from her bedroom. She was subject to quite a brutal attack by the intruder and bravely fought him off until he hit her over the head and knocked her out. Fortunately, it seems that he was spooked in the process of this and fled the scene. Now, it apparently took police over an hour to get to the incident at the property, but they did manage to gather vital evidence and then track the intruder down. They revealed his identity as 56-year-old Thomas Gallegos. They were able to arrest him and charge him with multiple serious offences such as burglary, assault, kidnapping and child abuse. The little girl did sustain cuts and bruises and was obviously traumatised by the attack, but fortunately did live to tell the tale.
This is how rare your body actually is. Starting off, only 5% of people have tied tongues, so if you have this, you're pretty rare. Basically, this is where your tongue is tied to the bottom of your mouth, impacting your speech and eating. Next up is Morton's toe, and if you have this, you're probably pretty rare. Only 10% of the population has this, and this is where your index toe is bigger than your big toe. Okay, this next one is crazy. 1% of people actually have unbreakable bones. This is a genetic mutation which causes people's bones to be more dense than the average human. And one person who had this condition actually walked away from a car crash unharmed. Next, about 50% of people can fit their hand in their mouth. Sounds a bit high, so if you actually can, let me know. If you can tickle yourself, you're in the rare 7% of the population that can do this. About 10% of people suffer from eczema, which is a skin rash and is so annoying. And finally, we have the 16% of people that can make a roaring noise in their head by clenching their jaw.
If any of your seekers, man, can you guys do any of those unique things, man? I think I have the tied tongue, but I can't fit my whole fist in my mouth. I know I can't do that. I don't even need to try to do that, bro. And the unbreakable bones. I saw actually somebody comment down, a fellow seeker said how like the unbreakable bone story was kind of not true. So, like I said, to each their own. Everybody got to do their own research, but that's crazy.
Crazy part is, most people believe that these three things will actually save your life. They don't. Let's pretend you're lost in the desert and you need water, and you don't have any. So where are some places you can get water? One commonly held terrible piece of advice is to drink your own pee, because it's mostly made up of water, except there's 5% of that that's all made up of just waste from your body, and even though the urine might keep you alive a little bit longer, you'll ultimately die of kidney failure. So you don't drink your own pee. Instead, you head over to some cactus you see nearby because you remember reading or hearing in school that you can drink the water inside of cactus. Except, unless it's one really specific kind of cactus, you'll be drinking lots of alkaloids and chemicals that will make you viciously ill, and you'll start vomiting and you'll have diarrhea and you'll die from dehydration much faster. So as you're sitting there wondering what you're going to do next, a venomous snake bites you. And so you instinctively start sucking on the bite to remove the poison, but you can't because it goes right in your bloodstream, and all you'll do is die much faster from infection.
Man, those three things, he just proved us wrong.
This picture from inside the basement of Fun Zone, and I'm going to get into some of the backstory about what it is that we're actually looking at here, but what I can tell you is that when I did see it, my heart sunk. For some backstory, if you don't know what Fun Zone is, this is kind of a relic of the late 90s, early 2000s. It had lots of iterations over the years, but it was effectively like an indoor amusement park or arcade. It used to be like a really fun place to be. It had a handful of carnival rides, indoor roller coasters, all the works. So Fun Zone eventually did close down and they boarded up the doors. I guess the problem was that didn't stop people from breaking in. One of the curious things about this location was that they didn't sell off any of the equipment that was inside. It just kind of remained in place. Eventually, upon one of the break-ins where somebody went in, they made their way to the basement where they found an abandoned cell phone, and that is where we get this picture. Nobody really knows who took the photo or what really happened to them, but if you look a bit closer to the background, you will see the same thing that I do. You can see it if I make the photo brighter. Whoever was exploring Fun Zone, they came face to face with a person in that basement. Don't forget, if scary stories like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check them out right on the podcast.
We're always told to drink a lot of water
Insane.
throughout the day, but have you ever wondered what happens when you drink too much water? Well, 35-year-old Ashley Summers drank 64 ounces of water in a span of 20 minutes and passed away from water toxicity. Ashley, her husband, and 2 daughters were at Lake Freeman in Indiana when she began feeling dehydrated. So she drank 4 bottles of water because for some reason she wasn't able to quench her thirst. Ashley complained about having a horrible headache and she began to feel lightheaded. When she got home with her family, she passed out in the garage and she was taken to the hospital where the doctor said she had brain swelling. Ashley never woke up and she was pronounced dead from water toxicity. A toxicologist said that this is more likely to happen to someone who's extremely dehydrated, which will cause them to drink too much water and not enough sodium or electrolytes. So remember, bring more than just water on really hot days, especially if you're under the sun for a long period of time.
Here's why you
Noted.
might not want to visit your mom on her birthday. A man was stuck in traffic while driving home after visiting his mother for her birthday. The man was so frustrated that when the GPS told him to take a detour, he went right away, which might have been a mistake. His gas light then came on, so he decided to pull into this super bear in town to fill up his tank. So the man went in, pumped his gas, and when he went to pay, the clerk was super weird. He didn't acknowledge him and just gave him a creepy smile. The man then went outside and saw a woman just standing in the middle of the road and said, "Are you okay?" And the woman looked at him and said, "Ah, yes, we are happy here." The man was like, "What the?" and just drove out of there. Till a cop pulled him over and said, "Sir, you can't drive. Driving's illegal here." The man had had enough and literally just went pedal to the metal and zoomed out of there. When he got home, he was just so confused. The people looked real but didn't act human. He tried to research it but decided, next year I'm just sending my mom a card.
Yeah, the Fast and Furious out of there, bro. I did the same thing too. People are acting weird, very weird.
Weird Nature Facts, Part 37. In proportion to body weight, koalas have one of the smallest brains of any mammal. They're so dumb that when presented with leaves on a flat surface instead of on branches, they are unable to recognize them as food and will not eat them. Dogs get sprayed by skunks so often because skunks raise their tails as a warning. Dogs see this as "come smell my butt," which is the exact opposite message of what the skunk is trying to send. In Germany, it is illegal to kill any vertebrate animal without proper reason. Because of this, all German animal shelters are no-kill. In the 1980s, Ken the orangutan escaped from his enclosure at the San Diego Zoo multiple times. His apparent goals were visiting other animals, taking photos with tourists, and throwing rocks at his orangutan rival.
Wow,
Here
really?
are some disturbing facts about Disney. Many scenes in Toy Story are inspired by the horror movie The Shining. The voice actor that did Lilo in Lilo and Stitch also played the ghost girl in The Ring. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland feature real human skeletons. Also at Disneyland, there are vents that pump out artificial smells to keep you happy. After the release of Princess and the Frog, over 50 kids went to hospital for salmonella. They tried to kiss a frog. Do you know any other creepy things about Disney? Leave a comment.
Here's some.
I think the thing that got to me the most is that he pumping out like a smoke out of a vent to keep you happy at Disney. What the heck? What they got going on with Disney, bro? And the more you know, I heard some creepy facts about Disney, but that's definitely a new one I heard today, Seekers.
The creepiest videos on the internet, Part 10. The popular American rapper XXXTentacion was murdered on June 18th, 2018, and his death broke the hearts of many.
R.I.P.
Many people visited his memorial to leave gifts, but some people captured much more. The YouTube channel The Fam recorded a video trying to communicate with this beloved rapper, but accidentally captured this. But someone else got a lot more than this. The YouTube channel Selva the Explorer got to speak with him through her spirit box. Here's some things he had to say.
What is your favorite song you've ever recorded? What's the name of your favorite song? Are you in the Wi-Fi? Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Is this legit? They were speaking to his ghost?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the most disturbing, but this is definitely top 5. This is Malgast Island.
and up to 60,000 of these birds called Cape Gannets will nest here. But don't worry, I'm gonna get to it. So normally these parents take turns, with one going out for food with the other staying behind to guard the chick. But because of overfishing, oftentimes both parents will go out for food, leaving the chick all alone on the island. Which wouldn't be a problem if they didn't know that. Because groups of these white pelicans will fly over to the islands and then walk around looking for any unsupervised Gannet chicks, so that they can grab the baby birds and eat them alive while they're still struggling. And sometimes they'll just push the parents out the way and then swallow the newborn children right in front of them. It somehow gets worse. Those same pelicans will fly back to their nest and vomit the half-digested, recently murdered baby birds for the pelican chicks to eat. And because Cape Gannets have no real way to defend themselves, pelicans have no reason to stop. And since pelicans obviously don't have teeth, those chicks' last moments were spent suffocating while being digested alive by stomach acid, only to get regurgitated and eaten twice. Dinosaurs never went extinct. They just rebranded with feathers.
Black Air Force energy. Confirmed. They need some menaces, bro.
This is proof that we aren't alone. Okay, so in Wyoming, there's a strange mountain in the middle of nowhere with ridges on it, and no one seems to know why. Now, most people say that this is because of erosion. However, there's a theory behind this mountain that will absolutely shock you.
Talk about
And
it.
as the theory says, the real reason as to why this mountain has ridges is not because of erosion, but because of a giant bear. The said bear is said to be named Mato and is about 60 feet tall, weighing over 10 tons. And this story even goes as far back as the Stone Age, with drawings of a gigantic bear attacking tribes on wall caves. However, this creature has not been seen since.
So this video went viral sometime last year when this woman and her kids, along with her friend and her friend's kids, went out to eat after a doctor's appointment. While they sat at this restaurant, this random man came out of nowhere and tried to grab one of their daughters and pull her out of the restaurant. The two mothers had a total of 6 kids with them, and they were all seated on this table, but in front of them were 2 other young kids who happened to be Snapchatting while this whole thing went down, and they caught this crazy moment. When the mother realized that this man had grabbed her daughter, she stood up right away and said, "Oh hell no." And then he said, "I'm just playing," and he let go of the little girl. There is no way this man is just playing around. He intended to take that little girl, and he probably thought it was going to be easy because there's just 2 moms with 6 kids at this table.
Humanoid robots.
Yeah, nah, he was definitely on some weird crap, bro. Gonna say, try to play it off as a joke, man. These people are getting bold now, bro. Like, right in front of the parents, they just don't care no more. Did the right thing stand up? Nah, we had to run that feed, bro. No. Somebody had to drag me off that guy, man. And for, like, in front of the parents? How stupid could you be?
Are getting creepier by the day. A startup from Poland called Clone Robotics is on a mission to create some of the most human-like robots ever, even going as far as to use a musculoskeletal body using hydraulic tendon muscles covered in this stretchy skin-like fabric. And it's not just for show, because they claim that it is the strongest biomimetic hand in the world. Oh, and just like in the movies, their artificial muscles bleed if punctured. So yeah, things are getting serious now.
It's Terminator next step.
Today, let's talk about the mysterious disappearance of Rebecca Corium. Rebecca Corium was a 24-year-old worker on the Disney Wonder cruise ship. On March 22, 2011, while working on the cruise ship, Rebecca disappeared without a trace. This is one of the last photos taken of her, and it was from CCTV footage. At 5:45 a.m. that morning, footage revealed Rebecca talking on the phone with someone. She seemed visibly distressed. Now here's where it gets twisted. Many people believe that Disney knows exactly what happened to Rebecca, but are trying to cover up this whole thing. Let me explain. For starters, the captain of the ship said that Rebecca was just washed over by a big wave. They then gave Rebecca's parents a sandal and said that this was hers and it was retrieved from the deck that she was last seen on. Number 1, the sandal wasn't her size. Number 2, it wasn't her style. It was also revealed that Disney had edited the CCTV footage. Check out part 2 on this case for more information.
They're just trying to save some money, man. That's not the first time a big company would do something like that. It's sad.
Did you know that they may have just exposed Satan's city? What's even more crazy is there's people living there right now and it's not hell. Whilst addressing a church in Revelation chapter 2 verse 13, Jesus exposes the city of Satan. Watch this. Jesus says, I know where you live, a place where Satan sits enthroned. And he says that same place is where his faithful witness Antipas died. Saint Antipas was martyred by being burnt in a bronze bull in Geneva, Switzerland. Like, this literally happened under the rule and reign of Nero. And you're never gonna guess what's happening in Geneva, Switzerland right now. It's home to an organization called CERN, whose, logo just happens to be 666. And their goal in life is to develop a machine that can actually tear a hole between the natural and supernatural realm. And they just made a discovery of something called the God particle, but that's a video for another time. Subscribe now if you love Jesus.
What do we think about CERN, man? That's their headquarters.
This is the disturbing truth about Christmas. This is Black Peter, and he spends the whole year spying on kids, taking note on who has been good and who has been bad. Every single Christmas, Black Peter goes with Santa from house to house, and while Santa gives presents to the good kids, Black Peter punishes the bad ones, and this is what he does to them. First, he will leave you a bag of twigs and a pile of coal. But if you have been really bad, Black Peter will snatch you from your bed and throw you into a sack. He will then kidnap you and take you to his coal mine, where he will chain you up and make you his slave. You will then work for him for the rest of your life, and if Black Peter ever gets sick of you, he will just simply eat you. So if this doesn't motivate you to make the nice list, then I don't know what will.
Stay away from Black Peter, bro.
Of the silent man. In 2014, a 51-year-old man in the UK named David Hampson decided to stand in the middle of a busy road and block the traffic. The incident was then reported and police officers arrived at the scene to see what was going on. But when they tried to talk to David to get him to move, he wouldn't say a word and just stood there, so they arrested him. From his arrest to when he was brought to court, David still remained completely silent and wouldn't even talk to his lawyer. Although since no one knew his motives and he hadn't actually hurt anyone, David was let go soon afterwards. But all he did was just go back to that same street and stand there, silent, once again. And he committed this same crime over and over again for the next 7 years, never saying a word to anyone. Even though he was jailed multiple times, every time he was released, he would just go back to that same street and do the exact same thing. All the doctors who had tried to help David failed because he refused to speak to them. And it was reported that the only time anyone had ever heard him speak was when he was giving food and water, and he said thanks. Finally, in 2020, David was given 3.5 years in prison for his actions, and is still yet to speak to anyone on why he did it. Fourth one.
If you believe in God,
crazy.
stay away from Halloween. Muslims, Christians, or anyone who believes in God, Halloween is a pagan festival. It involves evil spirits, jinns, and shaitan. It is forbidden for Muslims, and real Christians will know the truth. Please do not associate with it and stay away. Share this everywhere and spread awareness.
Alright guys, let's
That's
talk about
true, I remember
Krampus.
that.
Krampus comes from old German folklore. He's the opposite of Santa Claus and he punishes misbehaving children on Christmas. You might be asking, what does he do to punish these misbehaving children? He stuffs them in his bag and takes them back to his lair. He either eats them or tortures them. He also has a whole gang of minions that help him do this. Krampus is celebrated around many parts of Europe and there have been a lot of petitions to ban him. This is because people are scared of the legend and they don't want to keep doing it. But every single year during Christmas time, there are always reports of Krampus sightings all over the place. Let me know what you guys think about Krampus in the comment section below.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 3. The first firefighter killed in 9/11 attacks was struck dead by a falling body in the courtyard. One of them was killed on his way in, and the other was killed on his way out. Right now, there are tiny little bugs on your face munching on your dead skin. Your bones are wet. If you don't have kids, you will break an unbroken line of children that has gone on for tens of millions of years. A scientist studying death asked a man who was about to be executed by a guillotine if he would blink after his head was chopped off. He ended up blinking for 30 seconds. Most laugh tracks for TV shows were recorded in the early 1950s, meaning that you hear dead people laugh. If you're attacked by a bear, it won't try to kill you like other predators. Instead, it'll just start eating you. One day, someone will mention you for the last time, then they'll never ever mention you again.
Crazy to think about, man.
Here are the creepiest Christmas urban legends, part 1. Ever heard of the Yule Cat? This is an extremely creepy cat that's said to originate from Iceland. According to stories, the Yule Cat enjoys snacking on people during the holiday season. And what makes the Yule Cat even weirder is that it specifically targets people who haven't received any new clothing before Christmas Eve. Iceland is also home to Gryla. According to Iceland lore, Gryla is a giant ogress who leaves her cave in the mountains to feed on children during Christmas. To make the story even creepier, Gryla keeps the Yule Cat as a pet. What the hell is going on in Iceland? Then we have Belschnickel, and this one comes from Germany. According to people of the Rhine, Belschnickel is an old bearded man who visits children during the holidays with Santa Claus. If you were good that year, he'd give you cakes and candy. If you were bad, well, Belschnickel would pull out a switch and whip the children until they behaved. This is probably why Dwight from The Office loved him so much. There's also Krampus. This is one you've probably heard about from movies and books. In the Alpines, Krampus is a horned demonic figure who visits the homes of naughty children on December 5th and punishes them. In some versions of the story, he hits them with birch rods. In others, he straight up takes them back down to hell with him. The Germans definitely know how to scar kids for life.
Scary things hidden in Disney movies. In Mona, Olaf from Frozen appears in Mona's basket. Wall-E, Rex from Toy Story All Alone among the junk.
Whoa,
Here's
I never
the truth
noticed
behind
that.
Dora the Explorer. You may think it's just some ordinary cartoon, but there's actually a big secret behind it. Dora the Explorer is actually blind, and here's proof. If you watch the show, you'll notice Dora never actually looks at what she's talking about. She always looks in another direction and doesn't even blink. This also explains why her parents make her take Boots everywhere, because Boots is actually a Secret Service animal. Even in this scene right here, Boots is counting the coins and she's not looking anywhere near that. And this explains why she always asks obvious questions to the audience. The 16-year-old.
Whoa, what the heck? Hey, that's a new theory, man, that she just put in my head. Was Dora the Explorer always blind? What do you guys think, man? It was lining up perfectly.
Girl threw her newborn out of her window. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. On September 30th of 2016, 16-year-old Antonia Lopez had gave birth to a baby girl. Right after giving birth, she took a photo of the baby and sent that photo to her baby's father on Snapchat. Antonia had captioned the photo saying it was a girl, by the way. Right after that is when she made the decision to throw the baby out of her second-story window. Shortly after that, she then decides to post on her Facebook around 3:40 a.m. to see if someone can help her out. Someone ends up replying to her Facebook post, and she is asking help to get rid of a deceased baby, needs some trash bags, and a car. Antonia ends up telling her mom what happened, and her mom immediately calls 911 and rushes down to that baby to perform CPR. Antonia was taken into custody, and she could face up to 20 years in prison if she was charged as an adult. The judge ends up charging Antonia as a juvenile so she can avoid prison time. Instead, she was sentenced to live in a group home, complete 50 hours of community service, attend therapy sessions, and delete her Facebook account. The only reason they made her delete her Facebook account was because of the angry comments she was receiving.
Here's what famous cartoon characters would look like in real life, and the last one will freak you out. This is what Homer Simpson would look like as a real person. And this is a 3D rendering of Mario. Buzz Lightyear doesn't actually look too different in real life. And Bart Simpson seems to have a missing chin when he turns real. Stewie Griffin from Family Guy doesn't look too different. But SpongeBob SquarePants might freak you out.
Yeah, he did. SpongeBob can't be real. that face.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. These cities are all still owed money from the Trump campaign. There are now over 50 countries generating over 50% of their electricity from renewable energy. This shows the employment rates for 15 to 29-year-olds in Europe. The darkest blue areas are over 80%, and the darkest red areas are under 30%. This is how much it costs to hold a prisoner in each state in the United States. In Arkansas, it only costs $23,000, but in Maine, it costs over $300,000. 33% of the entire country of Switzerland lives within 5 kilometers of the main train line that goes through the country. This map shows how population is dispersed through France, with the same amount of people living in the green as in the red. This map shows how many people by percentage in each country in Europe actually speak French. This map is highlighting every city that was founded by the French in the United States.
Wow, the more you know. That first map is crazy, bro.
These are scary cartoon truths that would terrify you, part 8. Okay, so the Teletubbies is a dark nightmare about genetically engineered slave creatures being systematically trained to become part of our society. The Teletubbies aren't in control of their own destiny, and 3 things control their day-to-day life. First is the voice, which is a tiny female voice that tells them when they could eat, sleep, say hello, or even say goodbye. The robotic voice comes from a speaker in the ground, hinting that something larger lies beneath. Next up is Nunu. He's a harmless vacuum cleaning robot who follows the Teletubbies and cleans up all the messes that they make, and also yelling at them for bad decisions. Nunu is just the watchdog of the Teletubbies. Finally is the pinwheel. Whenever the pinwheel starts to spin, the Teletubbies stop everything they're doing and run to the top of the hill to perform a ritual. People believe the Teletubbies is based on the end of the world.
Wow, we've heard some crazy theory about the Teletubbies, but that's definitely a new one.
Saudi Arabia has just said that the groundwork for what would become the largest structure on Earth is now 86% complete. Now, not only would it be large enough to fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside, but similar to the Las Vegas Sphere, in its center will be this spiral-shaped tower encased by a VR dome that essentially could create anything your mind could imagine, whether that be on Mars, under the ocean, balcony views of Pandora, and even whatever the hell these things are. So the question is, do you think they'll be able to complete this by 2030 or not?
This evil
I
grandmother
don't think
baked
so.
her 20-month-old granddaughter in the oven. Viewer's discretion is strongly advised. 48-year-old Carolyn Jones lived with her brother and 20-month-old granddaughter Royalty in Shaw, Mississippi. She was described as a caring woman who loved her granddaughter. On October 15th of 2018, Carolyn's brother had found Royalty in a still warm oven when he had returned home from work. She had been burned so badly that she was unrecognizable. The police determined that Royalty had been stabbed multiple times and was still alive when she was placed in the oven. Royalty's cause of death was stab wounds and inhaling all that heated air. Carolyn was taken into custody on a charge of first-degree murder. The motive behind why she did this is still unclear to this day. A week before the incident, Royalty's toys and belongings had been left on the curb for trash. Royalty's car seat, high chair, ride-on horse, and diapers were among the items taken by people that were passing down their street. Neighbors were shocked to hear about what happened, and they stated that they rarely saw Carolyn or anyone else at that house, and they had no idea that a small child was even living there. In 2022, Carolyn was sentenced to life in prison for capital murder.
An 11-year-old boy came across this girl buried underneath the sand, and this is what happened. A young boy named Connor Fitzgerald was building sandcastles with a couple of his friends at the Marina Dunes Beach in California. The boys soon moved to digging holes in the sand and challenged each other to see who could dig the deepest. As Connor was digging his hole, he suddenly hit something with his right hand. He dug deeper and realized that it was a bag. He dug around the bag, grabbed it, pulled it out, and was shocked when he realized that the bag was still attached to its owner. Connor then dug back more sand to find a little girl buried underneath. He called out for help, but there were no adults around, so he single-handedly pulled her out of the sand. The little girl was completely limp and wasn't breathing. Connor then thought back to an episode of NCIS where he saw a character perform CPR. As he started the procedure, a young couple walking down the beach started sprinting toward them.
Damn, I gotta find that part too, bro. Imagine you found somebody buried alive. That little boy is a hero, bro. Man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Make sure you guys follow me on my social medias. Hit that thumbs up button. Comment down below. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.